Chapter 12:10. Alice obviously didn't know that Yang Ming had X-ray vision and telescopic vision, and he could easily see what she had done before. In the dark night, even with binoculars, he couldn't clearly see the situation on the opposite ship. What's more, Alice had been in a secret place. She didn't think that Yang Ming could find out that this was her plan. What's more, in order to carry out this plan, the 4 crew members on the ship were also prepared to die. This had already made a great sacrifice. It could be said that the acting was very good, but Alice would never have thought that Yang Ming had already seen through her plan, but he still didn't know the real reason why Alice did this. Although Yang Ming had the ability to see through other people's thoughts, it required specific conditions, and it varied from person to person. For people like Alice, their willpower would not be so fragile, so it was difficult for Yang Ming to find an opportunity to make a move. "Thank you for saving me, Yang Ming." Alice pecked Yang Ming's face lightly like a dragonfly touching the water, and then said sincerely, "You helped me again." "How can I thank you? You are already mine. I don't want you to be tainted by others, so I saved you only for myself. You don't have to thank me." Yang Ming gently pushed Alice away and said faintly. Yang Ming had always adopted a respectful attitude toward Alice, this woman. Yang Ming was not a weird uncle with a lolicon tendency. However, Alice didn't look like a loli, but more like an 18 or 19-year-old girl with even more exaggerated development. "Hee, it turns out that you were right. You are an overbearing man." Alice's fingertips gently touched Yang Ming's face, full of provocation. "But I like men like you." Yang Ming naturally would not be charmed by Alice. Yang Ming knew early on that this woman was acting, and her acting was good, so Yang Ming would not be fooled at all. Since Alice was willing to act, then Yang Ming was happy to cooperate with her to see what ulterior purpose she ultimately had. "Really? But I am not interested in you for the time being." Yang Ming shrugged and moved Alice's hand away from his face. "Take good care of what belongs to me. Don't lose it." "Hee, don't you want to ask me how I got here?" Alice saw that Yang Ming was really unmoved, so she put away the idea of continuing to tease Yang Ming. Puzzling things always have puzzling reasons. Since they are puzzling, I don't want to know the reason," Yang Ming said indifferently. It was not that he was really not curious, but he knew very well that even if he asked, Alice would definitely talk nonsense and come up with a set of well-prepared words to deal with him. So instead of this, Yang Ming might as well not ask. "It's not puzzling." Alice shook her head. Her pair of big watery eyes looked at Yang Ming, and her cheeks gradually blushed. "Do you know, Yang Ming? I fell in love with you, really. I came from Europe to country X to find you, but my ship encountered pirates on the way. My 2 followers were killed by them. When they saw that I was a girl, and I was very beautiful, they did not kill me. Instead, they kidnapped me to the ship. But fortunately, they did not have any bad thoughts about me, so they were killed by you." "Looking for me?" Yang Ming saw Alice's affectionate look, and his whole body trembled. He did not expect this woman to act so realistically, but at this moment, Yang Ming was not willing to expose her on the spot, because Yang Ming had not yet figured out Alice's ultimate intentions. It was not worth it to shed all pretense of cordiality now. "Yes, Yang Ming." Alice pursed her lips. She had a lovely look on her face, but her tone was firm. "I realize that you are really charming, so I'm going to find you and return your things to you." "My things? What things?" Yang Ming was nervous because of Alice. When Alice said that, Yang Ming immediately asked subconsciously. "My body." After Alice said this, she took the opportunity to fall into Yang Ming's arms. "I want to give you," Yang Ming frowned. He was getting more and more confused about Alice's true intentions. In this case, Yang Ming believed that if he really wanted her, Alice could not resist Yang Ming even if she wanted to. In the end, she could only admit that she was unlucky. As for Alice and himself, they should be 2 people who didn't have any interactions. Their meeting was completely accidental, without any inevitability or premeditation. After accepting old Buffon as an apprentice, Yang Ming could have an intersection with Alice. Otherwise, Yang Ming would not go to Europe, and there would be no chance to meet Alice. Alice could be said to be a character that he came into contact with under these coincidences. Although Yang Ming had killed Dorsk on this girl's ship, Yang Ming did not think that Alice entangled him and had anything to do with this matter. Okay, don't mess around. There are still people waiting for us on the ship over there. Yang Ming took a deep breath. For the temptation of a woman, especially the temptation of a beautiful woman, he believed that many people would find it difficult to refuse, regardless of whether there were feelings. Yang Ming and Alice were in this situation now. Therefore, Yang Ming was really afraid that he would not be able to control himself and do something that was out of control. Alice listened to Yang Ming's words and glared at Yang Ming with some resentment. Then, she nodded bitterly. Okay, then let's go. Seeing that Yang Ming actually brought back a delicate beauty, Wulang's eyes suddenly widened. However, due to the fear of Wang Xiaoyan and Victoria previously, Wulang learned to be obedient this time. After glancing at Alice, he hurriedly withdrew his gaze. He didn't want to be threatened again. Wang Xiaoyan had seen Alice when she was in Europe. When she saw that Alice actually came back from the pirate ship with Yang Ming, she was slightly stunned, but she did not say anything. She just nodded faintly to Alice. Miss Wang, we meet again. Alice was friendly and extended her hand to Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan reached out and shook hands with Alice, but she did not show much enthusiasm. Obviously, Wang Xiaoyan also noticed that this woman was not right, so she kept a certain distance from her appropriately. This was not because Wang Xiaoyan's character was cold, but it depended on who she was with. Just like for Huang Lele, Wang Xiaoyan showed great enthusiasm. Even Wang Xiaoyan herself had some doubts. Was she still herself when she was with Huang Lele? She was like a complete little woman. But now, for Alice, Wang Xiaoyan could not bring out any interest. Let me send you back to Europe first. Yang Ming glanced at Alice and said helplessly, call your entourage and ask them to send a ship to pick us up. Fortunately, Yang Ming did not go far. It would not be too hard to turn back now. Wulang, although he felt that it was a little troublesome, he did not dare to say it. He was very afraid of Yang Ming. No need. Alice refused the mobile phone that Yang Ming handed over and waved her hand. I have decided. I want to follow you. Wherever you go, I will be there. Follow me? After Yang Ming listened to Alice's words, he really felt a little dumbfounded. Yang Ming really did not know what Alice's purpose was. She actually came from Europe. After such a ruse, she wanted to follow him. Yeah, only you can protect me. Alice nodded firmly. Although you may not love me now, I will make you fall in love with me. After Wulang listened to Alice's words, he suddenly coughed. Why does this beauty favor the man in front of me? Wulang was very envious of Yang Ming. However, some things were useless even if he was envious. These women were not easy to provoke, and only a man like Yang Ming could subdue them. Alice, you said that you want to follow me back to China? Yang Ming looked at Alice. This chick's expression did not seem to be joking. Yes. Otherwise, why do you think that I came so far to find you? I even encountered pirates on the way and almost lost my virginity. Why? Alice nodded affirmatively and walked slowly to Yang Ming. Her hands could not help but open. It seemed that she wanted to hug Yang Ming. I say, is this woman's brain sick? Yang Ming doesn't like you, and you still want to get close to him? Before Alice approached Yang Ming, she was pushed away by Wang Xiaoyan. This Alice's pretentious performance made Wang Xiaoyan very uncomfortable. I say, Miss Wang, you don't need to care about me and Yang Ming, right? Are you jealous? Alice turned her head, and her charming expression became cold. Men are most annoyed by jealous women like you. I advise you to save it, or sooner or later, you will be abandoned. Do you believe that I will kill you? Wang Xiaoyan suddenly stretched out her right hand, and a transparent dagger flashed a cold light toward Alice. Pa! Wang Xiaoyan's wrist was caught by Alice. Crazy. Alice snorted coldly and pushed away Wang Xiaoyan's hand. It turns out that you are also a martial artist. Wang Xiaoyan's mouth smiled slightly. I don't know how you were hijacked by those pirates. Just now, Wang Xiaoyan felt that this Alice was a bit strange, so she deliberately found a fault to test her. She didn't expect that Alice really had kung fu. Otherwise, with Wang Xiaoyan's skill, she would never be so easily caught by Alice. However, Wang Xiaoyan didn't really want to kill Alice, but she showed a flaw to her. However, Alice didn't know that Wang Xiaoyan was just testing her. Wang Xiaoyan was using Yang Ming as an excuse to make trouble. A woman could do anything for a man, especially for a love rival. Therefore, Alice was very clear about this. She wasn't sure if Wang Xiaoyan was trying to scare her, or she really wanted to end her on this dark ship. For her own safety, Alice had to block Wang Xiaoyan's attack, and Wang Xiaoyan saw through the fact that she had kung fu. Under Wang Xiaoyan's interrogation, Alice's expression suddenly panicked, but it was gone in a flash. They fired a smoke bomb, and I fainted at that time. Alice said calmly. It turned out to be like this. Wang Xiaoyan still wanted to say something, but she was stopped by Yang Ming's eyes. Wang Xiaoyan snorted and stopped continuing to make trouble for Alice. Yang Ming found that something was wrong with Alice before, but he didn't have time to tell Wang Xiaoyan, so it led to this scene. Yang Ming didn't want Wang Xiaoyan to expose Alice's plot too early, so he stopped her. However, Yang Ming's eyes were different in Alice's eyes. In her view, Yang Ming was protective of the fairer sex and stopped the fight between the two women, so she looked at Wang Xiaoyan proudly and stuck out her chest. Alice was arranged to share a room with Victoria. It seemed that on the surface, it was because there were not enough rooms, so she could only live with Victoria. In fact, Yang Ming's intention was to let Victoria look after Alice. Victoria naturally understood. Yang Ming didn't need to say anything. She shouldered this heavy responsibility. Alright, Alice, you can tell me your plan now. Yang Ming sat down, face to face with Alice, and began to talk about her problems frankly. Although Yang Ming also knew that Alice couldn't tell the truth, he could guess some of her thoughts from her lies. I haven't thought about it yet, but maybe it's to go to school with you. Alice blinked her eyes and said to Yang Ming. Go to school with me? Yang Ming had a headache. Originally, the relationships with these women around him had not been straightened out. Now, a crazy Alice came out. How could Yang Ming not have a headache? Yeah, that's the plan for the time being. Alice nodded solemnly. I feel that the best time is the time when you're in love on campus. I've lived my life in vain. There's no meaning to it. Now, I'm finally ready to enjoy my life. Well, Alice, to be honest, I don't know what you are going to do with me, but there are some things that I don't want you to do too much. I don't want to cause some conflicts because of you. You know what I mean. Yang Ming did not pursue what Alice was going to do, but said with some threat and warning, if you are really here for me, then I hope you can follow the normal rules of the game. Yang Ming's words were not clear, but they had a double meaning. It sounded like Alice liked Yang Ming, so she came. If she wanted to pursue Yang Ming, then she had to follow the rules of the game and not destroy some existing balance. However, Yang Ming's intention was to let Alice have self-respect. She could use whatever moves she had, but she shouldn't use some underhanded tricks to create a diversion. Because Yang Ming simply didn't believe that Alice would fall in love with him, this man whom she had only met a few times. After that, without waiting for Alice to answer, Yang Ming stood up and went out of Alice and Victoria's room. Did he suspect something? Alice looked at Yang Ming's back and hesitated. Or, he just doesn't want me to destroy his love life? I hope it's just the latter. However, the woman named Wang Xiaoyan around him has obviously become suspicious. I have to guard against her in the future. When Yang Ming returned to his room, Wang Xiaoyan was already sitting on the bed waiting for him, but her face was facing away. Apparently, she was angry with Yang Ming. What's wrong? Yang Ming smiled and sat on the bed, holding Wang Xiaoyan's shoulder. You're back. I thought you were going to spend the night in that woman's room. Wang Xiaoyan snorted. For Yang Ming's former woman, Wang Xiaoyan was not qualified to be jealous, but for this woman whom Yang Ming met with her, Wang Xiaoyan would naturally throw a little temper. Are you angry? Yang Ming didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to be really angry because of Alice. That woman has a problem. There is really a problem. Wang Xiaoyan snorted again. However, some people are obsessed. It is difficult to see the essence of things. Only after suffering a loss will they know this. Ah. Yang Ming was stunned and then smiled bitterly. Yan Yan, do you think that I am really that kind of person who is obsessed? If you are not obsessed, then you are obsessed. Wang Xiaoyan snorted. Yan Yan, in fact, I have already found something wrong with Alice. Yang Ming whispered, I have been suspicious of her since I was in Europe. Really? After Wang Xiaoyan listened, she looked at Yang Ming with some suspicion. Although she was not as angry as before, she was still somewhat uncertain. Of course, it's true. As Yang Ming said, he told Wang Xiaoyan about the scene he experienced in the casino in Europe. Ah. It turns out that she wants to harm you? Wang Xiaoyan was shocked. Should I kill her tonight? So that she won't harm you again? That's not necessary. I also want to keep her. I don't want to alert the enemy for the time being. I want to see what her ultimate purpose is and whether there is something deeper behind the scenes. Yang Ming said, so, I just stopped you from continuing to expose her. Now, it has not reached the point of shedding all pretense of cordiality. It turned out to be like this. Then you didn't want to say it earlier. Wang Xiaoyan breathed a sigh of relief. It turned out that Yang Ming did not take a fancy to Alice's beauty before he made the previous gesture. Why did I say it earlier? How could I have the chance to say it in a tense situation? Before that, I didn't know that I could meet her again. Yang Ming said as he spread his hands. So, there was one more passenger on the ship. Wulang could only squat in the corner and smoke a cigarette. He pondered in his heart. This Alice really knows Kung Fu. It seems that my guess is right. She is also someone who can't be provoked. This was Wulang's most cowardly sailing trip ever. There were 3 beautiful women on the ship, but he could only watch and not touch them. However, Wulang himself did not feel that there was anything cowardly. What is cowardly? This is called a great man knows when to yield and when not to. If you are stubborn, then you are playing with your own life. Chapter 12:11. After getting off the boat, they still returned to Vietnam by plane. After more than 10 hours of travel, the person who received them was still Fatty Li, Yang Ming. Fatty Li rushed to the plane where Yang Ming was. You're back. I'm back, Fatty. Yang Ming smiled and hugged him. The relationship between Yang Ming and Fatty Li could no longer be linked by simple interests. After the previous battle of life and death, the friendship between the two people was not the kind that could be easily destroyed. Finally, I can put my heart in my stomach. Fatty Li breathed a sigh of relief. I was worried that something would happen to you along the way. You know, that side is not the range that I can control. It's nothing. There is indeed a snakehead who is restless, but after being taught a lesson, he became honest. Yang Ming shrugged and said indifferently. Haha. Fatty Li thought of Yang Ming's skill and understood. Who could take advantage of Yang Ming? Is the situation here stabilized? Yang Ming walked and asked Fatty Li. It's all stabilized. Now, the whole area is under my control. Fatty Li said, in the future, if you want to smuggle in, just look for me directly. How many times can I smuggle in? Yang Ming smiled bitterly. This time, I don't know when I will see you again in the future. Yeah. Fatty Li also had some emotions. When he and Fang Tian parted, it was more than 10 years. How many decades can there be in a person's life? However, you can take your wife back to China to visit often. Yang Ming saw Fatty Li's sadness and patted his shoulder. I will. Fatty Li said until here and paused. He wanted to continue to say something, but he stopped. Fatty, what's wrong with you? Is there something wrong? Yang Ming also saw Fatty Li's hesitation, so he asked. Yang Ming, I have something to ask you, but I also know that this is a bit troublesome for you, so I don't know how to say it. Fatty Li sighed and said slowly. Sure enough, there is something. Yang Ming patted Fatty Li's shoulder and said, Fatty, if you have something to say, just say it. The relationship between the two of us is also from life and death. There is nothing that can't be said. If I can do it, then I will definitely help you. Fatty Li listened to Yang Ming's words, and his heart was moved. Indeed, the relationship between him and Yang Ming could not be replicated. The experience between the two people were destined to be solid and irreplaceable. Although Yang Ming's help seemed to be more, how could a comrade in arms in the trench be distinguished from each other? Actually, this is the case. Fatty Li said, I don't want to talk about this when you just got off the plane, but you are going to leave soon. I really have to say it. Fatty Li, when did you become such a long-winded person? If you have something to say, just say it. Yang Ming kicked Fatty Li and laughed. Why are you so long-winded? Well, then I will say it directly. Fatty Li clenched his teeth and said, Brother Yang, forget it. I will let Yang Mei talk to you later. Yang Mei? Yang Ming was slightly stunned and immediately remembered that Yang Mei was Fatty Li's wife. Seeing Fatty Li so hesitant, Yang Ming had no way. He could only wait until he saw Yang Mei. At this moment, in the middle of the night, Yang Ming wanted to rest here for a while. He would leave for China at dawn. The resting place was naturally Fatty Li's home. Yang Mei cooked a few side dishes. Apparently, she knew that Yang Ming would come back today, so she carefully prepared them. Although they were very simple, they looked, smelled, and tasted good. Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan, Victoria, and Alice were all hungry. Alice, you are a woman who is usually aloof. I don't know if you are used to the food. If you are not used to it, then don't eat it. Wang Xiaoyan frowned when she saw Alice pick up the chopsticks. Apparently, she felt that this disposable chopstick was not very hygienic. Wang Xiaoyan's words were obviously not out of concern for Alice, but sarcasm. Alice naturally heard it. After glaring at Wang Xiaoyan, Alice said, Who said that I am not used to it? Yang Ming shook his head and said nothing, but Fatty Li had a bitter smile on his face. He didn't know the identity of the woman brought by Yang Ming, so he didn't dare to speak casually. Alice frowned. It was because she had been in the upper class for a long time that she had that kind of subconscious reaction. But when she really sat down and ate, she didn't care so much. Instead, she ate with relish. Sister-in-law, your cooking is really good. It seems that Fatty Li is usually blessed. Yang Ming smiled as he ate. Hee, Mr. Yang, you are used to eating good food. Occasionally, you eat something light and think that it tastes good. If you eat it every day, you won't think so. Yang Mei smiled. Fatty Li waited for Yang Ming and the others to finish eating. He coughed twice to Yang Mei, and Yang Mei immediately understood. Mr. Yang, I have something to trouble you with. Fatty Li may have said half of it before. Yang Mei hesitated and said. Sister-in-law, if there is anything, just say it. I asked Fatty Li to say it before, but he was embarrassed. I have said that as long as I can do it, I will do it. Yang Ming said. Actually, this is the case. Mr. Yang, you see. When you leave, can you take Yang Hua with you? Yang Mei glanced at Yang Hua, who was eating silently with her head down, and then said to Yang Ming. Yang Hua. Take her away. Yang Ming was slightly stunned, and then he understood the meaning of Fatty Li and Yang Mei. They wanted him to take Yang Hua back to China, far away from here. Yeah. Fatty Lee also threw caution to the wind at the moment and nodded. The education and environment here are far worse than over there, and following me and Yang Mei. You also know that although the situation is stable now, maybe one day, the enemy will come to us. Yang Mei and I don't want to involve Yang Hua, so I asked you to take her away. Just take her back to her hometown. Her uncle is there. That's the case. I thought it was something else. Yang Ming nodded immediately after listening. This is very easy. Don't worry. I will do it, but is Yang Hua willing to be separated from you? When Yang Ming asked this, his eyes moved to Yang Hua on the side. Yang Hua's body moved slightly, but she still lowered her head. Apparently, she had talked to Fatty Lee and Yang Mei before and reached a consensus. Emotionally, she is naturally unwilling, but the environment there is good. Yang Mei and I have already told her, said Fatty Lee. Well, then take her with you. Yang Ming agreed. As for taking her back to her hometown, it will take a few days. I have to stay in Songjiang for a few days to deal with some things. That's no problem. Yang Hua is not in a hurry. Yang Mei said quickly, Mr. Yang, if you have something to do, you can do it first. The matter was settled like this. Yang Ming could also understand the mood of Fatty Lee and Yang Mei. Yang Hua was still young. She should have her own life and not be in Vietnam. She should be living with them on tenterhooks. Yang Hua's identity also doomed her to be unable to marry an ordinary man in the future. The person she married could only be a type of person like Fatty Lee. Yang Mei didn't want her sister to be like this, so the only way was to leave here and start a new life. With Yang Ming as an opportunity, Fatty Lee and Yang Mei made up their minds to make such a decision. Because Yang Ming and Fatty Lee were friends who had gone through life and death, Fatty Lee naturally trusted Yang Ming. If it were other people, Fatty Lee would definitely not let them take Yang Hua away. Fatty Lee had too much contact with the dark side. He knew that if a beautiful and lovely little girl like Yang Hua was entrusted to a person with bad intentions, it was very likely that she would end up being sold to a nightclub as a prostitute. Of course, this was still good. It was even more likely that she would be sold to a remote mountainous area to marry a disabled person as a wife. It was scary just thinking about it. But Yang Ming would never do that. Although he didn't know Yang Ming for a long time, Fatty Lee trusted Yang Ming, especially since Yang Ming's other identity was an assassin. Assassins were more trustworthy people. With these 2 points, Fatty Lee was relieved to entrust Yang Hua to Yang Ming. In fact, with Fatty Lee's own strength, it was not difficult to bring Yang Hua back to China and find her uncle. But the key problem was that Yang Mei was not at ease. Yang Mei and Yang Hua had left that place for many years. They didn't know what had become of their hometown. If they left Yang Hua there without a care, not to mention whether the uncle they had never met would take her in, even if he did, it was uncertain whether he would treat her well. With a strong backer like Yang Ming over there, Yang Mei was relieved. At least, with Yang Ming looking after her, Yang Hua would not suffer any grievances. Yang Ming actually understood this. Since Fatty Lee trusted him so much, Yang Ming would not fail to live up to his trust. He would definitely let Yang Hua have a good life. It was dawn. It was time for Yang Ming to leave. Yang Hua and Yang Mei hugged each other and didn't want to separate for a long time. Her eyes were already red from crying, and her voice was hoarse. Fatty Lee and Yang Ming stood aside and sighed. Well, Yang Hua, follow your brother Yang Ming. That is your life. You will have a good future. Yang Mei patted Yang Hua's shoulder and said, Sister, you promised me that within 2 years, you will end things here with brother-in-law and come to me. Yang Hua said with a sob. And, your brother-in-law and I will come to you as soon as possible. Yang Mei nodded. Yang Hua silently let go of her sister's body. She actually understood that her sister was just comforting her. How could brother-in-law's business here be ended just like that? 2 years, I'm afraid that even 10 years may not be able to end it. After this farewell, when will we meet again? It was still Fatty Lee who drove Yang Ming to the boat, but this time, Fatty Lee did not go back with Yang Ming. Instead, he arranged a car to pick up Yang Ming on the opposite side. Yang Hua sat quietly in the back of the car, holding her cheeks with both hands. No one knew what she was thinking. She looked back, but she could no longer see the scene in Vietnam. From today onwards, Yang Hua understood that she would face another kind of life. Yang Hua, you stay in Songjiang for a few days. Wait for me to deal with the things in my hands, then I will arrange to send you to your hometown to find your uncle. Yang Ming turned his head, glanced at Yang Hua, and sighed. Yang Hua nodded in silence. She already knew at this moment that Yang Ming was not the same kind of person as Fatty Lee, so at this moment, there was no previous hostility. Her silence was entirely because of sadness. Her sister, who had lived with her for many years, was separated from her today. It would be a long time before they could meet again. Victoria, Wang Xiaoyan, and Alice each occupied a row of independent seats. This was a Toyota coaster. There were a lot of seats, so they were able to be separated. Victoria was a person who did not like to talk much, and her identity was special. Naturally, she would not talk too much to others. Wang Xiaoyan was more disgusted with Alice. Alice was afraid that Wang Xiaoyan would notice something, so she was unwilling to say anything to Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Kejin looked at the information in his hand, and he was a little irritated. This was just a mission to assassinate an ordinary college student. He had wasted so many days. According to the information, there were 3 places where Yang Ming often appeared. One was the school area and dormitory apartment building of Songjiang Industry University, one was the family area of Songjiang Mingyang Heavy Industry, and the other was the villa in Huashang District. After waiting in these 3 places for many days, Wang Kejin did not see Yang Ming's trace. He even suspected that the information provided in the information was wrong. However, after confirming with the school's academic affairs office, Yang Ming was indeed a student of Songjiang Industry University, and the family area of Songjiang Mingyang Heavy Industry was indeed the home of Yang Ming's parents. The villa's name was also Yang Ming's name in the community property office. This made Wang Kejin puzzled, but he could only continue to wait back and forth in these 3 places. He did not expect such a simple mission to be so troublesome. If this mission could not be completed, then what face did he have to return to the butterfly family? How could he have the face to become a disciple of Marshal Uncle Tombstone? The mobile phone that he carried with him vibrated twice. Wang Kejin took out the mobile phone and glanced at it. It was his instructor who called. Wang Kejin sighed slightly. My first mission has not been completed yet. I don't know if the instructor will scold me. Hello, instructor. Hello. Wang Kejin picked up the phone and said seriously. Kejin, how is the execution of the mission? Why is there no news for so many days? In the past few days, other instructors have mentioned you. The instructor's voice had some concern and some slight blame. Instructor, my mission has not been completed yet. Wang Kejin braced himself and said. Oh. The mission has not been completed yet? Hee, how can an underworld boss in a city be assassinated so easily? The instructor smiled comfortingly. However, you have to hurry up. No, instructor. This is the first mission. I have not completed it yet. Wang Kejin said helplessly. Although he knew that if he said this, the instructor might be disappointed with him, he could not lie. The first mission? The mission to assassinate a college student and his girlfriend? The instructor was stunned and asked incredulously, this mission is so simple. Why haven't you completed it yet? Simple, it is very simple, but I have been waiting for so many days and I have not seen any trace of the target. Wang Kejin hated Yang Ming in his heart. It was all because of this Yang Ming that he fell into this situation. If he could not be accepted by Master Tombstone, then all his previous efforts would have been in vain. Therefore, Wang Kejin blamed all of this on Yang Ming's head. He couldn't wait to tear Yang Ming into pieces. It turned out to be the case. The instructor said after listening, then this is not your fault. However, you have to speed up the investigation. This mission has been accepted for a long time, and the person who issued the mission has not been given an explanation. This has an impact on our credibility. I understand, instructor. Don't worry, I will hurry up. Wang Kajin promised. Well, keep in touch with me at any time if there is news. The instructor said. Yang Ming first arranged for Victoria, Alice, and Yang Hua to stay in Guojinchao's hotel. The hotel had been renovated and renamed the Songjiang Mingyang International Hotel. It was successfully upgraded to a 5-star hotel. Victoria had no opinion on this. Since she was here, she would take it as it came. She understood that Yang Ming still needed some time to arrange her identity, so she was not in a hurry. Yang Hua also had the same idea as Victoria, but she was living in such a luxurious hotel for the first time. She was not quite used to it. Looking at the magnificent room in front of her, compared with the broken house in Vietnam, it was a world of difference. Yang Hua finally understood why so many girls were racking their brains to get married here. This was a qualitative change in life. It was a completely different world. Looking at the cautious look of the hotel waiter, Yang Hua also knew that Yang Ming must be a very powerful person here. She thought that her brother-in-law was also very powerful in Vietnam, but compared with the two, the things that her brother-in-law's power brought were too little. Yang Hua did not like girls who were greedy for vanity. She thought so much because she wanted her sister, Yang Mei, to come here and enjoy life. Her sister was not much older than her, but what she had to bear was much more than her. Alice was obviously used to living in a similar hotel. She did not seem to have any discomfort, but she was annoyed that Yang Ming left her here and ignored her. When Yang Ming left before, he told Victoria and Yang Hua, but he did not say anything to Alice. This was not that Yang Ming forgot, but it was obvious that Yang Ming did it deliberately. Yang Ming wanted to give her the cold shoulder. Of course, Yang Ming must also know that with Alice's identity and wealth in her hands, she did not need any help from Yang Ming in Songjiang. As for going to school with Yang Ming, she could do it herself. Chapter 12:12. Brother, I have arrived in Songjiang. After Alice waited for Yang Ming to leave, she quickly dialed a number with her satellite phone. She didn't use the phone in the room, although the phone in the room could also make an outside call at any time. However, Alice was a more cautious person. She was afraid that the phone in the room would be monitored, so she didn't use the phone in the room. Little AI, you have arrived? The person on the other side asked with concern, how was it? Did you reveal any flaws along the way? There shouldn't be, but that Wang Xiaoyan is very alert. She noticed that I know Kung Fu, and I almost exposed it. Fortunately, I covered up the lie in time, said Alice. That Wang Xiaoyan. She is indeed a troublesome character. What annoys me the most is that she and Yang Ming actually got together and disrupted my plan again and again. The person on the other side seemed a little irritated. This plan has been delayed for too long. If we can't solve Yang Ming and alert that person, we will be finished. Well, I understand. I will find a chance to start as soon as possible. Alice didn't know why, but when she said this, her heart felt like it was stung. She was a little uncomfortable. However, Yang Ming's skill is not worse than mine. This opportunity is not so easy to find. Men are most likely to relax their vigilance when they are infatuated. Alice, you understand what I mean, said the person on the other side. Although the man on the other side couldn't bear to let Alice sacrifice herself, sometimes, in order to achieve great things, he had to make some sacrifices. I know, said Alice calmly. From the beginning, when she received this task, she had already planned to sacrifice herself. Well, if there is nothing, don't contact me, so as not to be discovered by Yang Ming. If he is vigilant and suspicious of you, it won't be good. The person on the other side said, we are all in Songjiang. It is too dangerous to contact too many people. Brother, don't worry. I know what to do. After Alice finished speaking, she hung up the phone, but there was an indescribable feeling in her heart. Was it uncomfortable, or what? From the perspective of a third party, Ong Ming was an innocent person, but because of a strange combination of circumstances, it affected the interests of her brother. Sometimes, it was hard to tell who was good and who was evil. It was just that the perspective was different, and there were changes in the inside. Alice sighed slightly. She didn't have time to think about these things. She still had a lot of things to do. This time, Alice didn't use the satellite phone. She picked up the phone in the room because there was no need to hide it from Young. Hello, is this Kate? I'm Alice. The person Alice was talking to was the heiress of a business family in Malaysia. She was slightly older than Alice and had many businesses in the country. Ah, it's you, Sister Alice. How do you have time to call me? Although Kate was the heir of a big family in Malaysia with a net worth of billions, compared with Alice, she was worse. She had to rely on Alice to survive in the European market, so she was particularly enthusiastic about Alice's phone call. Kate, I am in China. You have a lot of connections here, right? Alice asked. I want to go to Songjiang's Industry University now. Do you have any connections to let me enter this school? It's Songjiang, right? Kate thought about it and said, no problem. I am very familiar with Director Song of the Education Department. I help to facilitate the exchange between several local and Malaysian schools. Then, I will trouble you with this matter, Kate. Alice didn't expect to solve the problem with just a phone call. Sometimes, it was easy to deal with the person who contacted the matter. Although it was easy for Alice to enter Songjiang Industry University with the help of her brother's relationship, if Yang Ming really investigated how she entered this school, it was easy to expose the layer of relationship behind Alice. Therefore, Alice just used the relationship that she had cultivated over the years, not her own relationship here. This matter was not a big deal for Kate. It was nothing more than selling a favor to Alice. When Director Song heard that Alice came from Europe to study here and was a friend of Kate, he easily agreed. Therefore, Alice entered Songjiang Industry University as an exchange student. Victoria's student identity was not difficult. Yang Ming let Ho Junhan arrange it. Yang Ming had asked old Buffon to create a real identity for Victoria in Europe, so Victoria came to China this time as an international student. In this way, Songjiang Industry University had 2 more international students. However, the strange thing was that these 2 international students were Chinese. With Ho Junhan's social relationship, it was not difficult to arrange for a student to study in the university. These were not things that Yang Ming worried about. Even Ho Junhan didn't need to worry about it. His own people were responsible for it. After Yang Ming returned to Songjiang, the first thing was naturally to call Chen Mengyan. During this trip, with Huang Lele and Wang Xiaoyan accompanying him, Yang Ming didn't seem to be lonely. After returning, he naturally felt guilty to Chen Mengyan. Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jiejia, and Lin Jiyun had already fallen asleep. During this time, Yang Ming wasn't at home, which allowed the 3 girls to get along more freely. Without the previous restraint, their relationship was more harmonious. This was what Yang Ming didn't expect. When Yang Ming was there, Chen Mengyan was always cautious, Lin Jiyun didn't fight for it, and Zhou Jiejia was shy and restrained. This made the 4 of them form a very strange relationship. They were a little awkward when they met each other. Since Yang Ming was gone, there was no such restraint and restriction. There were many topics between women, apart from the man who made them feel awkward. Therefore, in these few days, the relationship between Chen Mengyan, Zhou Jiejia, and Lin Jiyun had improved by leaps and bounds. Although occasionally, some people would mention Yang Ming, which caused a temporary awkwardness between them, after a long time of awkwardness, they became accustomed to it. After all, Yang Ming wasn't around. Even later, Yang Ming had become a topic for several people to make fun of each other. Chen Mengyan rubbed her sleepy eyes. She didn't know who was calling so late at night. Lin Jiyun and Zhou Jiejia on the side were obviously woken up by the ringtone. Especially Zhou Jiejia, who seemed to have fallen asleep and was awakened by the ringtone. She was staring with a face full of question mark as she looked for the source of the sound. Chen Mengyan picked up the phone and didn't look at the caller ID. She said in a daze, "Hello? Who is it? Dear, are you asleep?" When Yang Ming heard Chen Mengyan's dazed voice, he knew that Chen Mengyan must be asleep. Yang Ming was very sorry for disturbing her rest. However, because Yang Ming returned to Songjiang, it was already more than 11:00 in the middle of the night. This was not something he could control. He wasn't Iron Man who could fly, so he could only come back by car. "Who is your dear?" Chen Mengyan asked inexplicably. She subconsciously thought that the phone call was wrong. She directly hung up, threw the phone aside, and fell on the bed again. "Mengyan, who called?" Zhou Jejia finally woke up. "I don't know. When I picked up the phone, he called me dear." Chen Mengyan waved her hand. She was still in a half-asleep state. "Dear? Could it be Yang Ming calling?" Zhou Jejia was stunned and casually made a joke. Chen Mengyan sat up from the bed again and instantly woke up a lot. "It seems to be Yang Ming." After that, Chen Mengyan quickly took the phone and glanced at the call record. It was indeed Yang Ming's name. Chen Mengyan said with a bitter face, "Sure enough, I just fell asleep and hung up." Zhou Jejia listened to Chen Mengyan's words and remembered Chen Mengyan's previous sentence, "Who is your dear?" She suddenly laughed. "Mengyan, you were too fierce just now. You're still laughing?" "Didn't I fall asleep?" Chen Mengyan said with some helplessness. "Then hurry up and call." Lin Jiyun also covered her mouth and couldn't help but laugh. "I hung up. Otherwise, Jiyun, you help me call." Chen Mengyan thought about her own behavior and felt a little embarrassed. If Yang Ming asked, it would be so embarrassing. So, Chen Mengyan threw the phone to Lin Jiyun. "Okay, I'll call." Lin Jiyun smiled and took the phone and pressed the replay button. The phone was quickly connected. Yang Ming looked at the phone that was hung up inexplicably and smiled bitterly. The phone rang. Seeing that it was Chen Mengyan's number, Yang Ming shook his head helplessly. He didn't need to ask. It must be that Chen Mengyan fell asleep. "Hello, Mengyan?" Yang Ming didn't call Chen Mengyan directly this time to avoid Chen Mengyan hanging up again. "It's me." Lin Jiyun said quickly, "Just now, Sister Mengyan was sleeping, so, it's Jiyun." Yang Ming heard Lin Jiyun's voice. "I know. You must be sleeping at this time. I didn't disturb you, right?" No. Lin Jiyun shook her head. "We just slept not long ago. I just want to tell you that I'm back. I have arrived in Songjiang." Yang Ming said, "You should rest first. I will find you tomorrow morning." Okay. Lin Jiyun replied cleverly. "How is it?" When Lin Jiyun hung up the phone, Chen Mengyan asked quickly. Yang Ming said that he has returned to Songjiang. He asked us to rest first and come to see us tomorrow morning. Lin Jiyun said truthfully. "I see." Chen Mengyan was slightly disappointed. She estimated that if she didn't show sleepiness, Yang Ming would be back tonight. During the time when Yang Ming was gone, although Chen Mengyan didn't say it on the surface, she still missed Yang Ming very much in her heart. However, because Lin Jiyun and Zhou Jejia were next to her, Chen Mengyan couldn't show too much enthusiasm. Otherwise, she would be laughed at. Therefore, Chen Mengyan could only give up the idea of continuing to call Yang Ming. She nodded and said, "Okay, then let's continue to sleep. I'm really sleepy. Yang Ming, this guy, is really annoying. He called me in the middle of the night. Yeah, let's go to sleep." Zhou Jejia licked her lips and resisted her smile. Because anyone could see how happy Chen Mengyan was. She didn't blame Yang Ming at all. Yang Ming threw the phone on the driver's seat of the car. After arriving in Songjiang, Yang Ming changed to his BMW X5 and let Fatty Li's people rush back as soon as possible. Have you appeased your harem? Wang Xiaoyan looked at Yang Ming. There was an indescribable smile on her face. Not yet. There are still a few. Yang Ming smiled. Wang Xiaoyan shrugged and glared at Yang Ming. If she were to be jealous, she wouldn't be able to handle it. However, what made Wang Xiaoyan feel fortunate was that Yang Ming didn't hide these things from her. This also made Wang Xiaoyan have a little sense of superiority. Sister Xiaoqing, are you asleep? Yang Ming called Xiaoqing. Yang Ming? You're back. Xiaoqing's voice suddenly had some surprise. I just came back. How are you, Sister Xiaoqing? Asked Yang Ming. Aren't I still researching the project? Xiaoqing smiled bitterly. Now, the college is developing a new wireless protocol. I am taking the lead to do it. It's so late. You're still at school? Yang Ming was a little surprised. Yeah, but I'm not still here. I'm always here. I'm living in school. Xiaoqing said helplessly. I'll go to school to find you tomorrow. Yang Ming smiled after listening. Right, how is Sun Jie? Little Jie, I haven't seen her for a few days. I'm so busy that I haven't called her. You should call her. She may have returned to Donghai. Xiaoqing said. So it's like this. Okay, then I'll call her. Yang Ming said. Well, I won't talk to you first. I'm still doing experiments here. Many people are here. Xiaoqing said, tomorrow afternoon. I'm on vacation tomorrow afternoon. Then tomorrow afternoon. Yang Ming knew that Xiaoqing might be really busy, so he didn't continue to disturb her. Yang Ming called Sun Jie's phone several times, but he couldn't get through. Looking at the time, it was already past 12:00 in the middle of the night. Perhaps Sun Jie had already gone to bed. Yang Ming didn't continue to call. He planned to call her early in the morning to inform her. As for Zhao Ying, Yang Ming hesitated, picked up the phone, and put it down again. The relationship between Zhao Ying and Yang Ming was really strange. Although Yang Ming wanted to call and inform her, he didn't tell her before he left, so he gave up after thinking about it. I don't know how Zhao Ying is these days. Is her anger gone? It's better to test it on the internet first. Calling her recklessly may not be a good thing. Are you done calling? Wang Xiaoyan saw Yang Ming put down the phone, so she asked. But aren't you still here? Yang Ming looked at Wang Xiaoyan. Now, it's our private time. Let's go home. Who cares? Wang Xiaoyan was telling the truth. During this time, she was with Yang Ming every day. Wang Xiaoyan even had the illusion that Yang Ming only belonged to her. However, Yang Ming's words reminded her that now that she was back in Songjiang, those days no longer existed. Wang Xiaoyan sighed. The night that was not very rare was now particularly precious. Tomorrow night, Yang Ming would definitely not accompany her anymore, right? The car drove in the direction of the Huashang district. Along the way, Wang Xiaoyan was silent. She never thought that one day, she would fall in love with a man. In the past, she came out to create her own assassin group to escape the family's arrangement and fight against the elders of the family. Rather than saying that she didn't want to marry a man without feelings, it was more to fight against the family. Because Wang Xiaoyan had never been in love before, marriage was also a dispensable thing in her opinion, so she didn't care much about it. Until the appearance of Yang Ming and falling in love with Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan began to re-examine her future. Her struggle against the family had become a struggle for her own happiness. Wang Xiaoyan didn't want to be separated from Yang Ming, so she wanted to control her own destiny and create the world's first assassin group to prove to her family that she, Wang Xiaoyan, could also create miracles by breaking away from the marriage. Boom. Just as Wang Xiaoyan bowed her head and pondered, a soft muffled sound passed through the eardrums of Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan at the same time. The body of the BMW shook slightly and lost its balance. At the same time, Yang Ming subconsciously controlled the direction and stepped on the brakes. Fortunately, it was in the community, and the speed was not fast. Yang Ming could quickly take measures. The car's tire burst. However, Yang Ming didn't think that it was a natural tire burst because Yang Ming heard the muffled sound very clearly. That was a gunshot with a silencer installed. Someone shot at his wheels. Someone shot. Almost in an instant, Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan said this sentence at the same time. The two also reached out and pressed each other's head under the seat at the same time. This BMW X5 was bulletproof. Although it was bulletproof glass, it also depended on what kind of bullet it was. If it was a high-intensity strafe at close range, the bulletproof glass was useless. At this time, they could only pin their hopes on the bulletproof steel plate inside the door. Wang Kejin began to pay attention to the BMW X5 when it just entered the community gate. According to the information, this car was Yang Ming's car. From the surveillance camera installed by Wang Kejin at the community gate, Wang Kejin couldn't see the appearance of the person driving. Therefore, Wang Kejin quickly took out the infrared night vision binoculars and looked carefully in the direction of the BMW. When he confirmed that it was a man no woman in the car, and the man was the target he was looking for, Yang Ming, Wang Kejin was suddenly ecstatic. Yang Ming, who had disappeared for a few days, finally appeared today. Moreover, there was a woman sitting next to him. This woman was obviously Yang Ming's girlfriend mentioned in the information. She was also one of Wang Kejin's targets. Chapter 12-13. If the person who came was only Yang Ming alone, then Wang Kejin would not necessarily make a move. Because if he killed Yang Ming, it would not be easy to find his girlfriend. After all, the information he brought was only about Yang Ming's information. The information about Yang Ming's girlfriend was only mentioned briefly. There was nothing special about her at all. It could be said that regarding the information about Yang Ming's girlfriend, after Wang Kejin read it, there was no valuable clue except that this person was a woman. It was precisely because of this that Wang Kejin would be cautious. He was ready to wait for Yang Ming and his girlfriend to appear at the same time, then he would kill them. However, it seemed that tonight was a godsend opportunity. There was a woman sitting in Yang Ming's car. Looking at the intimacy between the two, she should be Yang Ming's girlfriend without a doubt. Wang Kejin did not think that this would be a prostitute that Yang Ming casually found for fun, because who would bring a prostitute back to his residence? It was not a wise choice to let a prostitute know where he lived. Therefore, Wang Kejin believed that the woman next to Yang Ming must be his girlfriend. Yang Ming's car stopped. It stopped just like that. Wang Kejin was slightly stunned. As a matter of fact, the information showed that Yang Ming was just an ordinary college student. In the case of a tire burst, very few people could control the car freely and stop the car stably. However, Yang Ming did it. Although the maneuverability of a BMW car was one of the few in the world, good maneuverability did not mean that everyone's reaction ability was very sharp. Of course, this was not what made Wang Kejin feel incredible. The most incredible thing was that Yang Ming and his girlfriend actually lay down at the same time. Was this reaction the reaction of an ordinary person? Wang Kejin was confident that his pistol had been installed with a silencer. Although the pistol was not very good, because it was very difficult to get a pistol in China, it was already very good for Wang Kejin to get such a gun in a hurry. Even so, in the quiet night, the muffled gunshot was not very obvious. If one did not listen carefully, one would not hear it, especially Yang Ming in the car. This was something that was even more impossible to detect. However, if Yang Ming did not notice, then why did he lie down? This was one of the things that Wang Kejin was puzzled about. Wang Kejin did not have armor-piercing bullets. This pistol was very difficult to buy at a high price from a black gun market in the coastal area. This gun could blow up tires, but it was a bit difficult to shoot a steel plate. Seeing that Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan both lay down, Wang Kejin did not dare to act rashly. He did not know if Yang Ming had discovered him. The community at night was quiet and desolate, but even so, Wang Kejin did not dare to act rashly. Who knew if there would be anyone nearby? Wang Kejin wanted to wait for Yang Ming to come out of the car, and then kill Yang Ming with one shot. Therefore, he hid his figure in the shadow of a nearby transformer box, quietly waiting for Yang Ming to get out of the car. Perhaps it may be because Yang Ming thought that he had encountered a robber, so he did not dare to get out of the car. Wang Kejin had seen such a situation on the internet. It was said that at night, the car's tires suddenly burst, or it was suddenly hit. It was possible that it was a trap set by robbers. As long as the owner got out of the car to check, several people would rush over together, hijacking the owner and robbing the valuable things. Perhaps Yang Ming was so cautious after reading the post. Otherwise, Wang Kejin really couldn't figure out why Yang Ming did not get out of the car, and even lay down under the seat of the car. Someone just shot. Wang Xiaoyan whispered. Although the car was soundproof enough, Wang Xiaoyan was still afraid that someone outside would hear it. It seems that you also heard the gunshot. Yang Ming smiled. I didn't expect to encounter this when I just came back. I thought it would be safer to go home. Don't underestimate me. I am also an assassin. Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's words and snorted with some dissatisfaction. You should know that assassins are very sensitive to danger, especially gunshots nearby. Hee, this is true. Yang Ming shrugged. We just came back, and we encountered someone shooting at us. Could it be a mistake? Who knows? Wang Xiaoyan was also very helpless. She wanted to go home and have a good sleep. Who knew that they would encounter such a thing when they arrived at the entrance of the community? Did you see the person who fired the gun? A man, about 20 years old, with a buzz cut, medium build, and a little thin. Of course, Yang Ming couldn't find Wang Kejin's position and see his appearance at the moment Wang Kejin fired the gun. In that case, Yang Ming would not be Yang Ming, but Superman. Although Yang Ming had special abilities, he was not strong to that extent. When Yang Ming leaned down, Yang Ming began to explore the situation around the car with his special abilities. When he saw Wang Kejin and the counterfeit pistol in his hand, he suddenly felt relieved. This pistol was not enough to threaten the lives of him and Wang Xiaoyan. Not to mention the bulletproof steel plate on the door, even the glass of the car couldn't be penetrated. In this way, there was still no danger for the time being. As long as Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan didn't get out of the car, this person couldn't do anything to Yang Ming. However, Yang Ming's heart was not reconciled to just this. This guy hid in the community and launched an attack on him and Wang Xiaoyan. Yang Ming didn't think that this was random. How could there be so many coincidences in the world? I just returned to Songjiang, and I was inexplicably attacked. Therefore, Yang Ming believed that this attack must have a reason. At least, the person who attacked them should have a purpose. What Yang Ming wanted to do was to find some clues from the person who attacked them. The recent events made Yang Ming fall into a state of confusion. It seemed that there was no end to the conspiracy against him that was constantly being staged. It had even affected the people around him. Sun Jia, Wang Xiaoyan, and so on. Yang Ming didn't want this to happen. This wasn't the life that Yang Ming wanted. Although there was a saying that the greater the ability, the greater the responsibility, Yang Ming didn't want to be involved in these unknown disputes. It wasn't that Yang Ming was afraid of anything, but who wanted to live in caution every day. Recalling the road that he had walked in this year, indeed, he had special abilities and quickly stood at the top of the pyramid of wealth. He had wealth that many people couldn't imagine in their lifetime. At the same time, he had also become the king of assassins that made the entire assassin world look up to him. It was even more frightening to ordinary people. This kind of height and level was something that Yang Ming didn't dare to think about before. However, all of this had now been realized. However, at the same time, Yang Ming didn't have much enjoyment and happiness when he achieved this. He felt that he seemed to have been pulled into a huge conspiracy by an invisible hand. The strange events that happened again and again made Yang Ming really confused. Although the things that happened were generally people attacking him or the people around him, every time someone attacked him, it seemed that there was a lot of coincidence. Just like this time's Alice, who seemed to be completely unrelated to Yang Ming. How could she set up a trap to kill Yang Ming in Europe? This made Yang Ming puzzled. Even if Yang Ming knew that there was a mysterious boss behind the scenes, who was this boss and what was his purpose? This made Yang Ming really have some doubts. Yang Ming had doubts, guesses, and boldly imagined it. However, Yang Ming wasn't sure whether this behind-the-scenes boss was that person. Or was it Elder Yu whose plan was disrupted by him? He really wanted to end all of this as soon as possible and live a peaceful life with his family. This was what Yang Ming wanted. Yang Ming didn't like this kind of days of gunfire. Wang Kejin saw that there was no movement from Yang Ming's car for a long time, and Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan didn't get out of the car. They didn't even get up. While he was puzzled, he was also a little anxious. If this dragged on, the one who would compromise in the end would definitely be Wang Kejin. As long as the sky was bright, the security patrol car of the community would begin to patrol. This was the rule that Wang Kejin had figured out after so many days. In the security patrol car, in addition to the community security and the auxiliary police of the street office, there was a regular police officer with a gun. If he still held a gun and wandered around in the daytime, he would definitely be discovered by the patrol car. Although Wang Kejin wasn't afraid of these people, it was just a police officer with a gun. If Wang Kejin wanted to kill him, it wasn't difficult. But the difficult part was, what would Wang Kejin do after killing this police officer? He couldn't kill all the patrol members in the car. As long as one person was alive, he would quickly use the walkie-talkie to ask for help, and then a large team would arrive. Even if he could safely leave before the arrival of the large group of people, then the plan to kill Yang Ming would be ruined. The police would definitely be on guard and guard around this community. At that time, Wang Kejin would really not be able to make a move. Thinking of this, Wang Kejin knew that he had to take some action. Otherwise, it would be impossible to do anything at dawn. Wang Kejin took a deep breath, then stood up and gently approached Yang Ming's BMW. While moving, Wang Kejin was also carefully observing the movement in Yang Ming's BMW. His eyes had been staring at the BMW's window. When he saw that Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan didn't raise their heads, he was relieved to approach the BMW boldly. "He is coming. Be careful," Yang Ming told Wang Xiaoyan. It was because Yang Ming had already seen Wang Kejin's action through the steel plate of the door. "Oh. How do you know?" Wang Xiaoyan was slightly stunned. She wanted to raise her head, but she was pressed back by Yang Ming. Now, Wang Kejin was close to the car. It was a good opportunity to attack him. If Wang Xiaoyan raised her head and alerted him, then it wouldn't be good. "I heard the sound. Trust me." Yang Ming winked at Wang Xiaoyan. Although Wang Xiaoyan was still very confused, she finally chose to believe Yang Ming. After all, when she was in Vietnam, Yang Ming showed amazing judgment, which wasn't something she could reach. Wang Xiaoyan also understood that the difference between her ability and Yang Ming wasn't just a little bit, but a lot. Therefore, when Yang Ming said so, Wang Xiaoyan no longer observed curiously. "In a while, when he comes over, I will open the door and hit him with the force of the door. You get off when I open the door. I don't need to say what to do after getting off, right?" Yang Ming saw that Wang Kejin was coming in his direction. At this time, it was too late to change positions with Wang Xiaoyan, so the task of attacking Wang Kejin could only fall on Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan immediately understood after listening to Yang Ming's words. She nodded and said, "Don't worry. Leave it to me." When Wang Kejin saw that there was still no movement in the BMW, he couldn't help but smile slightly because he was already close to the BMW. Previously, he had already observed that Yang Ming's door was not locked. After Yang Ming lay down, he apparently forgot to press the center lock of the door, so this also gave Wang Kejin an opportunity. Wang Kejin's plan was to carefully walk to the front of the BMW, then open the door abruptly and shoot wildly inside. There were still 5 bullets left in the pistol. At this kind of close-range shooting, these bullets were enough to take the lives of Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan. However, Wang Kejin's idea was good, but his every move couldn't escape Yang Ming's eyes. Wang Kejin had already walked to the front of the door. He was overjoyed. He reached out and wanted to pull the door of the BMW, but at this moment, the door of the BMW opened abruptly. Boom! Before Wang Kejin's hand could touch the doorknob, his arm was hit by the door that opened abruptly. When Yang Ming opened the door, he had already used enough strength, and the speed was very fast. This made Wang Kejin unable to react at all. His arm was severely injured. It was like an iron plate smashed on Wang Kejin's left arm, making his left arm swollen instantly. Wang Kejin was counting his chickens before they hatched a plan. Who would have thought that Yang Ming actually played such a trick? Before he could do anything to Yang Ming, his left arm was already swollen. At the moment when Wang Kejin was in a daze, Wang Xiaoyan had already gotten out of the car. She quickly reached out and grabbed the pistol in Wang Kejin's right hand. Sometimes, the opportunity was in an instant. If it was seized, it would become a big deal. If it was lost, then it would be a disadvantage. Wang Kejin wasn't so easy to take away the gun from his hand. But this time, he failed. Although Wang Kejin had already recovered when the pistol was taken away by Wang Xiaoyan, everything was too late. The pistol was already in Wang Xiaoyan's hand. Then, Wang Xiaoyan threw the pistol into the courtyard of her villa. Wang Kejin wanted to enter Wang Xiaoyan's villa to pick up the gun, but it was obviously impossible. Wang Kejin's intestines were green with regret. He didn't expect that he, the most promising disciple of the 3rd generation of the butterfly family, actually failed such a small mission. In fact, the target of his assassination was an ordinary college student. If he couldn't complete the mission, then how could he still have the face to be a disciple of Master Tombstone? However, no one could be blamed for this matter. It could only be blamed on Wang Kejin's own carelessness. If he didn't underestimate the enemy before and blindly thought that Yang Ming was just an ordinary college student, he wouldn't be so careless. Wang Kejin was already very annoyed because he didn't find Yang Ming's trace for a few days. At this moment, he saw Yang Ming with his girlfriend. Wang Kejin naturally wanted to end this as soon as possible. As a result, the more anxious he was, the more mistakes he made. The pistol was taken away by Wang Xiaoyan, and Wang Kejin also recovered his calmness. In an instant, he understood that Yang Ming and his girlfriend were both martial artists. They were not ordinary people who didn't know anything. This also instantly let Wang Kejin figure out why Yang Ming was so sensitive to stop the car and lie down. It turned out that they had already noticed the danger and had been waiting for the opportunity to counterattack. Wang Kejin still stupidly thought that he wanted to open the door to shoot when they were unprepared, but they were waiting for the opportunity to attack when he approached. The reason why Yang Ming didn't lock the door was probably because of this, right? Wang Kejin had some self-deprecation. His judgment ability was still not good. As long as he thought about it at a deeper level, he would figure it out. When most people were robbed and in danger in the car, the first thing they would do was to lock the door. Yang Ming just happened to be able to stop the car and lie down, but he didn't lock the door. This had to explain some problems. It was just that Wang Kejin was eager for quick success and didn't understand this point. Wang Kejin retreated and avoided Wang Xiaoyan's fierce blow. Wang Kejin calmed down. It seems that today's mission is not so easy. Wang Kejin was a bit puzzled. How could such a difficult mission be defined as simple? Did the assassin group make a mistake, or did the client deliberately conceal the truth? However, now was not the time to pursue this. Regardless of whether the assassin group made a mistake or the client concealed it, Wang Kejin had to find a way to solve the matter in front of him first. Wang Kejin didn't know if Yang Ming knew Kung Fu, but the person next to him was definitely a master. As the saying goes, when an expert makes a move, one would know whether or not he is a master. Wang Xiaoyan grabbed the gun, threw the gun, and attacked with her leg. It was done in one go without the slightest pause. Obviously, she was also a veteran of fighting scenes. Yang Ming also got off at this time. When he saw Wang Xiaoyan and Wang Kejin confronting each other, he frowned slightly. For this person who disturbed his rest, Yang Ming didn't have a good impression. His hand shook slightly, and a flying needle made of wood provided by Zhang Jishan was drawn into Yang Ming's palm. Yang Ming wanted to move, but he heard Wang Xiaoyan say, "Leave it to me. I can just stretch my muscles." Wang Xiaoyan could be said to be annoyed with this Wang Kejin. Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming could be said to be the last night of tenderness. Tomorrow, Yang Ming would accompany Chen Mengyan and the others, and this Wang Kejin actually came to disturb them. How could Wang Xiaoyan not be annoyed? Chapter 12-14. Yang Ming had just pushed open the door until Wang Xiaoyan got off to grab the gun. He had been paying attention to Wang Kejin's movements all the time. Seeing that Wang Xiaoyan succeeded in grabbing the gun, Yang Ming also breathed a sigh of relief. This Wang Kejin didn't seem to be very powerful. What Yang Ming didn't figure out now was whether he was just randomly blocking the road to rob, or he had a purpose. Since he had lost the gun in his hand, Yang Ming didn't have to worry about the safety of Wang Xiaoyan, so he said, "Okay, but leave him alive." When Wang Kejin heard Yang Ming's words, his lungs were about to explode. He came to kill Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan. This Yang Ming actually said that he wanted Wang Xiaoyan to leave him alive. Isn't this looking down on me? Since Wang Kejin's debut, he had never been so insulted. His eyes suddenly turned green, but he also knew that it was not good to be angry at this moment. If he lost his head because of anger and delayed the business, then the sin would be big. Therefore, Wang Kejin calmed down and didn't take Yang Ming's words to heart. Instead, he stared at Wang Xiaoyan cautiously. Thinking about it carefully, Yang Ming's words might be reasonable. Although he was hit by Yang Ming's car door because of his carelessness, and the gun in his hand was also taken away by Wang Xiaoyan, this also indirectly showed that Wang Xiaoyan was not an ordinary girl. She had kung fu. It was just that he still didn't know how deep this kung fu was. However, Wang Kejin was now as cautious as possible. Wang Kejin didn't have the patience of Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming. Time was slipping away. The more time was delayed, the more unfavorable it was for Wang Kejin. Wang Kejin also understood that if the battle was not resolved tonight, then it was likely that he wouldn't be able to successfully assassinate Yang Ming and his girlfriend in the future. After experiencing tonight, they would definitely be vigilant. Wang Kejin couldn't lose this opportunity, and he didn't dare to lose it. Although the success or failure of the mission only had a slight impact on the organization's income, to Wang Kejin, the failure of the mission this time meant that he had no fate with Uncle Tombstone. This was a dream opportunity for every assassin in the Butterfly family. Wang Kejin had been waiting for this opportunity for too long. He would not allow himself to make any mistakes in this mission. Therefore, Wang Kejin made his move. He launched a fierce attack on Wang Xiaoyan. This was a good opportunity. Just now, he underestimated the enemy and underestimated Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan. But now, Wang Kejin thought that Yang Ming was underestimating the enemy. Looking at Yang Ming's relaxed and confident appearance, although he was a little angry, wasn't he the same before? Only by underestimating the enemy and letting down their guard would they suffer a crushing defeat. Yang Ming's bystander gave Wang Kejin a chance to deal with it one-on-one. If Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan besieged him, Wang Kejin would fail today's mission, needless to say. Both of them had kung fu, and they didn't seem to be very weak. If they attacked from both sides, Wang Kejin would definitely not be able to resist. In that case, he could only give up. But now it was different. Yang Ming did not join the battle. Only Wang Xiaoyan was fighting one-on-one with him, so Wang Kejin felt that as long as he seized the opportunity to kill Wang Xiaoyan in one fell swoop, it would be much easier to deal with Yang Ming. However, he must use the speed of lightning to give Wang Xiaoyan a fatal blow. Let Wang Xiaoyan be knocked down without having the power to fight back. Otherwise, if Wang Xiaoyan showed a lack of physical strength or other weaknesses, Yang Ming would definitely not sit idly by. In this way, with the addition of Yang Ming, Wang Kejin would lose the opportunity. Therefore, Wang Kejin was determined to kill Wang Xiaoyan as soon as possible so that he could have the energy to deal with Yang Ming. Wang Kejin moved. His whole person was like a toad. He jumped up from the ground and quickly turned his fist into a palm in the air. He slammed toward Wang Xiaoyan's head. Wang Xiaoyan's figure was relatively petite. She was not very tall, so this also gave Wang Kejin an opportunity. Wang Kejin's move was more effective against some relatively short opponents. Because of the strict professional training, Wang Kejin's jumping height was relatively high, which also ensured that his lower body was in a safe state. Wang Xiaoyan couldn't attack Wang Kejin's lower body because of her petite figure and Wang Kejin's jumping height. In this way, Wang Kejin had no danger of being attacked in his lower body. He could boldly launch an attack on Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Kejin's move might be effective against ordinary people, but for a well-tested assassin like Wang Xiaoyan, it could be said to be somewhat ridiculous. Wang Xiaoyan saw through Wang Kejin's intention at a glance. In fact, Wang Kejin's toad jump was mostly to scare people. It was a bit like Ouyang Feng's toad skill in the Legend of the Condor Heroes. It looked very sharp. Therefore, most of the opponents would be surprised and moved when they saw this toad skill at first glance. This was just a moment of stagnation brought by the movement. It was enough for Wang Kejin to kill. But unfortunately, Wang Xiaoyan was not scared by Wang Kejin at all. If this trick could scare Wang Xiaoyan, then Wang Xiaoyan would not be Wang Xiaoyan. At the moment when Wang Kejin launched his palm, Wang Xiaoyan also moved. She couldn't let Wang Kejin's palm hit her head. In fact, Wang Xiaoyan could completely avoid Wang Kejin's palm, but Wang Xiaoyan chose to use her palm to receive Wang Kejin's palm. Ah! Wang Kejin was suddenly shocked because he suddenly saw that between the fingers of Wang Xiaoyan's outstretched palm, there was actually a transparent dagger. How could Wang Kejin not be shocked? If this palm hit, then his right hand would be pierced with a hole. However, now that he was in mid-air, there was no point to exert force on his lower body. He wanted to stop, but he couldn't stop. Bang! Wang Kejin could only watch his palm and Wang Xiaoyan's palm face each other. The transparent and cold dagger stabbed into Wang Kejin's right palm. Wang Kejin groaned and endured the pain in his palm. After he landed on the ground, he quickly dodged backward. In this palm, Wang Xiaoyan obviously did not suffer any harm. The assassin's strength was not very great because they did not rely on strength to win, but on skills. Even if Wang Kejin wanted to attack Wang Xiaoyan's head, he would choose the most vulnerable back of the head or near the temple. He would not hit the top of the skull at all. The skull was the harder part of the head. He had not practiced the iron palm, so it was impossible to break the skull. Moreover, with the dagger blocking in the middle, Wang Kejin also subconsciously reduced most of the strength in his palm. Therefore, Wang Xiaoyan did not suffer any harm except for bearing Wang Kejin's weight. Wang Kejin was secretly horrified. Is this girl in front of me still an ordinary student? Which student goes out in the middle of the night with a knife? And her skill is so good? Although most of Wang Kejin's mistakes were because he was too careless, if the other party did not have a certain strength, even if he was careless, the other party would not gain any advantage. Looking at the dagger in Wang Xiaoyan's hand that was covered with his blood, Wang Kejin was simply horrified. If he knew that this mission was so difficult, then Wang Kejin would not have chosen the close combat method to complete the mission. No matter how much it cost, he would get a sniper rifle and kill the man and woman in front of him from a distance. However, things had come to this point. There was no way back. he could only continue to fight. Wang Kejin took a deep breath and tried to calm his mind. In any case, Wang Kejin was the best assassin in the third generation of the butterfly family. Although the gap between him and Yang Ming was not small, the gap between him and Wang Xiaoyan was not very big. Although Wang Xiaoyan was the young lady in the family and could receive the best training from a young age, Father Wang did not want his daughter to do missions. Instead, he wanted her to focus on learning management so that she could inherit the family business in the future. After all, managing an assassin organization did not necessarily require one to be an assassin, so Father Wang did not deliberately train Wang Xiaoyan. This caused Wang Xiaoyan to be in a position where she was neither too high nor too low. She was definitely much better than the average assassin. When she encountered someone like Yang Ming, she could only be bullied. However, Wang Kejin was too confident before, and he blindly attacked and the enemy's strength was not clear. Therefore, Wang Xiaoyan took advantage of the opportunity and gained the upper hand. Wang Kejin thought about it and recalled that he was a little impatient just now. It was only 12:00 in the middle of the night. There was still a long time before dawn, so he still had time. There was no need to fight head-on with Wang Xiaoyan as soon as he went up, resulting in Wang Xiaoyan taking the opportunity to stab him. The pain in his hand was nothing for Wang Kejin. Thinking about the previous training, this little injury was nothing at all. However, if he was injured in the execution of a mission, especially when his hand was injured, it would affect his strength more or less. However, now that they had fought head-on, both of them were in a state of preparation. Wang Kejin could not stop and be in a stalemate with Wang Xiaoyan. Retreating at this time was equivalent to giving Wang Xiaoyan a chance to fight back. He believed that Wang Xiaoyan would definitely continue to stab him with the dagger. Wang Kejin's assumption was not wrong. After Wang Kejin escaped, Wang Xiaoyan did not stop. Instead, she pursued and stabbed at Wang Kejin's chest with the dagger. Wang Kejin quickly leaned back. His entire upper body was in a horizontal state, but Wang Kejin's leg was not idle. He quickly kicked at Wang Xiaoyan's arm that was holding the dagger. Wang Kejin had some regrets. If he used his leg to attack instead of his hand, he would not be stabbed by Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Kejin's shoes were thick and hard. The lethality of the kick was relatively high. Similarly, it was difficult for the dagger to pierce it. Wang Xiaoyan originally made a feint. She did not expect this dagger to kill Wang Kejin. Therefore, after the attack missed, Wang Xiaoyan also quickly retracted her arm. Wang Kejin's leg kicked the air. Wang Kejin saw that he did not kick Wang Xiaoyan. He supported himself with both hands, bent his legs slightly, and kicked hard. His whole body flew up and kicked at Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Kejin learned to be smart this time. He did not wait for Wang Xiaoyan to stand firm, and he kicked out this flying kick. In fact, this flying kick was similar to the Yang Ming's flying kick invented by Yang Ming. It was just not as high-end as Yang Ming's flying kick. The same legs were off the ground, but Wang Kejin could only kick once. He could not continue to kick a second time after the first kick like Yang Ming. Yang Ming's technique was purely practiced by himself when he was fighting with the street gangsters. It was completely contrary to normal martial arts. It was impossible for normal martial arts not to leave a way out after the move. After Yang Ming kicked the Yang flying kick, he fell to the ground with a big butt. The result was that it would be better if the kick hit. If the kick missed, he would be kicked by others. Wang Kejin obviously could not make such a common mistake, so he only kicked once. However, although it was safe in this way, the power was also reduced a lot. As long as the attacker dodged, the kick would be in vain. It couldn't be like Yang Ming, who kicked after the enemy dodged. This kind of attack caught others off guard. Who would have thought that after dodging the first kick, Yang Ming could still kick a second time in the air? Therefore, Yang Ming also used this Yang flying kick to do a lot of big things at the critical moment. Although Wang Kejin's flying kick was not as powerful as Yang Ming's, his attack caught Wang Xiaoyan off guard. Indeed, there were not many people like Wang Kejin who bent down and used his hands as a fulcrum to jump up and kick. This required a lot of arm strength and explosive power to do it. Wang Xiaoyan obviously couldn't do it. After everyone made a move, there would be a momentary flaw. However, many people made this process fast to a certain extent, making it impossible for others to see their flaw. This was the so-called, in the world of martial arts, only speed is invincible. But obviously, Wang Xiaoyan couldn't do this, so when Wang Kejin's leather boots were about to step on Wang Xiaoyan's chest, the flying needle in Yang Ming's hand was about to be launched. However, a very strange scene appeared. Wang Xiaoyan quickly dodged. Her body, which was still in front of Wang Kejin, quickly slid behind Wang Kejin with an incredible posture and pace. The dagger in her hand was placed on Wang Kejin's neck. Wang Kejin's face showed an incredible look. Even Yang Ming widened his eyes. He didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to actually have such a move. Butterfly dance micro steps. Wang Kejin exclaimed subconsciously. He was really shocked. He didn't expect that he would actually see the butterfly family's best martial arts that he was looking forward to learning when he was performing a mission. This was the butterfly family's secret technique. Only the direct relatives of the butterfly family and the best disciples of each generation of the butterfly family could learn it. If Wang Kejin's mission this time didn't go wrong, then he would worship under the tombstone and be able to learn this wonderful butterfly dance micro steps. This was the butterfly family's best and most difficult martial arts to practice. Not only could it be used for assassination, but it could also be used for escape. It was extremely useful. Legend had it that this was adapted from the martial arts secret technique, lightning ripple micro steps. This kind of extremely exquisite kung fu actually appeared on the target of the assassination. How could this not make Wang Kejin shocked? In Wang Xiaoyan's heart, she was actually very lucky. She had been exposed to this set of butterfly dance micro steps since she was a child, but it was extremely difficult to practice it. Wang Xiaoyan practiced it for a while, but she didn't make much progress, so she gave up trying to practice it. Wang Xiaoyan's father didn't force Wang Xiaoyan to practice it. His idea was that Wang Xiaoyan would marry the king of assassins in the future, so with this link, even if Wang Xiaoyan didn't know martial arts, the assassins under Wang Xiaoyan wouldn't dare to disobey Wang Xiaoyan's orders. Who dared to rebel against the wife of the king of assassins? Wouldn't that be courting death? Therefore, Wang Xiaoyan didn't practice this set of butterfly dance micro steps. Otherwise, when she was competing with Yang Ming, she wouldn't have been bullied so badly by Yang Ming. Even if she couldn't beat Yang Ming, with the butterfly dance micro steps, wouldn't she be able to escape? This was also the reason why Yang Ming was surprised. Since Wang Xiaoyan had such a powerful skill, why didn't she use it when she was competing with him? Wang Xiaoyan was proud in her heart. In her desperation, she actually used this set of butterfly dance micro steps unnaturally. It was really a coincidence. She often saw on TV that some martial arts masters broke through themselves in a crisis and understood a certain martial arts. Wang Xiaoyan didn't expect this to happen to her. However, Wang Xiaoyan didn't wait too long to be proud. Wang Kejin's words were like a basin of cold water poured on her head. Wang Kejin actually knew the name of this set of martial arts. As a matter of fact, this was the secret of the butterfly family. Except for the people in the butterfly family who knew and had seen this set of martial arts, outsiders couldn't have access to it. Wang Kejin only saw Wang Xiaoyan's few steps, and he could call out the name of the butterfly dance micro steps. He must be a person who knew this set of martial arts very well. Who are you? How do you know? Wang Xiaoyan asked quickly. She also increased the strength of the dagger that was pointed at Wang Kejin. This involved the top secret of the family. Although Wang Xiaoyan had a conflict with her father, she also knew what was more important. This kind of family matter couldn't be sloppy. Who am I? Wang Kejin was slightly stunned. He didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to actually ask him this. If Wang Xiaoyan didn't speak, he just wanted to ask Wang Xiaoyan this sentence: Who are you? How do you know the butterfly dance micro steps? However, since Wang Xiaoyan had already asked, then Wang Kejin couldn't ask anymore. At this moment, Wang Kejin's heart was also full of confusion. How did Wang Xiaoyan learn this set of the butterfly family's highest martial arts? In particular, this person is Chinese, and in China. Wait. Wang Kejin suddenly thought of something. It must be like this. The cold sweat on Wang Kejin's forehead suddenly came out. He thought of a possibility, and it seemed to be the only possibility. Wang Kejin carefully turned his head and looked at Wang Xiaoyan carefully. He was more convinced in his heart. You are the miss? Chapter 12:15. Wang Kejin had naturally heard of the name of the butterfly family's miss, Wang Xiaoyan. However, Wang Xiaoyan had left the family very early to live independently. Wang Kejin had never really seen the real Wang Xiaoyan. He only mentioned Wang Xiaoyan when he was chatting with other assassins. He roughly knew about Wang Xiaoyan's age and the matter of her going to China. That was all he knew. However, when Wang Xiaoyan used the butterfly family's secret skill, butterfly dance micro steps, Wang Kejin thought that the person in front of him was probably the butterfly family's miss, Wang Xiaoyan. Butterfly dance micro steps was a very good and secretive kung fu. Even the assassins in the butterfly family couldn't practice it casually, let alone unrelated outsiders. However, Wang Xiaoyan could use butterfly dance micro steps. This in itself explained the problem. Wang Kejin didn't think that Wang Xiaoyan learned it secretly. How could this kind of kung fu be learned secretly? If this was the case, then the kung fu of the butterfly family would all be leaked, and the butterfly family would not be the world's largest assassin organization. Therefore, in summary, there was only one possibility. That was why Wang Kejin was so panicked. When he went to assassinate, he actually killed the eldest young miss, Wang Xiaoyan. How could he not be horrified? To assassinate the miss, he was simply trying to rebel. Thinking of this, Wang Kejin's body trembled. Who are you? Wang Xiaoyan was very sensitive to this miss, because she was called the miss in the family. Do you know butterfly dance micro steps? Are you really Miss Wang Xiaoyan? When Wang Xiaoyan said the name of butterfly dance micro steps, Wang Kejin was more convinced that the person in front of him was Wang Xiaoyan. Are you from the family? Wang Xiaoyan didn't say the butterfly family because she didn't want Yang Ming to know her background. She didn't want Yang Ming to feel discouraged because the butterfly family was too difficult to surpass. Wang Kejin nodded. What's his name? Wang Xiaoyan continued asking. Wang Kejin, a third-generation disciple. Wang Kejin answered honestly. Now that the identity of Wang Xiaoyan had been determined, then Wang Xiaoyan's question was equivalent to the question of the family master. Wang Kejin naturally had to answer in full detail without concealing anything. There is a family token in my pocket. Because Wang Kejin was threatened by Wang Xiaoyan with a knife, he didn't dare to act rashly, so he just said that there was a token in his pocket, but didn't take it out. Wang Xiaoyan reached into Wang Kejin's jacket pocket. Sure enough, she found a small butterfly token in his pocket. Wang Xiaoyan nodded. She fully believed Wang Kejin's words and put away the dagger on his neck. Don't reveal the family secret. Come in and talk with me. Wang Xiaoyan whispered to Wang Kejin. Although Yang Ming wasn't far away, Wang Xiaoyan's voice was very low. Yang Ming didn't hear it. Indeed, Yang Ming had the special ability of telescopic vision and could read lips, but he didn't need to do that with Wang Xiaoyan, so he didn't hear the last sentence of Wang Xiaoyan clearly. Yang Ming, this person is an assassin sent by my family. After Wang Xiaoyan finished talking to Wang Kejin, she turned to Yang Ming and said. Yang Ming had already faintly guessed something from the conversation between Wang Kejin and Wang Xiaoyan. At this moment, when he heard Wang Xiaoyan, he immediately nodded and made a gesture. Let's go in and talk. Yang Ming got in the car and waved to Wang Xiaoyan and Wang Kejin. When Wang Xiaoyan nodded, Wang Kejin sat in the back seat of the BMW. The car drove into the underground parking lot of Wang Xiaoyan's villa. After parking the car, Yang Ming, Wang Xiaoyan, and Wang Kejin got off. At this moment, Wang Kejin no longer had the previous murderous aura, but he was very respectful behind Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan. However, Yang Ming didn't relax his vigilance because Wang Kejin and Wang Xiaoyan knew each other. Who knew if this was a trick to deceive people? Therefore, Yang Ming always paid attention to Wang Kejin's movements. Until they entered the villa's hall, Wang Xiaoyan let Wang Kejin sit opposite the sofa. Yang Ming relaxed his vigilance, but he didn't completely lose his guard against Wang Kejin. First, bandage your hand. Yang Ming glanced at Wang Kejin's right hand and said, Yen Yen, you go upstairs to the bedroom and bring down my medicine box. Since he was a member of Wang Xiaoyan's family, Yang Ming naturally treated him differently. He planned to give him some of Fang Tian's secret healing medicine. These were refined by Fang Tian according to the ancient prescription. The price was very expensive. Wang Xiaoyan originally planned to find a medicine box and gauze for Wang Kejin, but after listening to Yang Ming's words, she immediately understood that Yang Ming wanted to give Wang Kejin better medicine. So, she looked at Yang Ming gratefully, and then quickly went upstairs. In any case, Wang Kejin was a member of her family, which meant that he was her subordinate. Yang Ming cared about Wang Kejin because of Wang Xiaoyan's face, so Wang Xiaoyan was naturally very grateful to Yang Ming. Thank you. Wang Kejin naturally understood that the reason why Yang Ming let Wang Xiaoyan get his medicine box must be that the medicine in the medicine box was better, and it couldn't be taken easily. Yang Ming waved his hand and looked at Wang Kejin. He said faintly, Your mission is to kill me or Wang Xiaoyan? It's you. Wang Kejin hesitated and didn't hide it. Now it seemed that the relationship between Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan was deep. Since Yang Ming let Wang Xiaoyan go to the bedroom to get the medicine box, it proved that the two people lived together. In other words, Yang Ming was Wang Xiaoyan's boyfriend. So when Yang Ming asked, Wang Kejin had no reason to hide it. However, the employer asked me to kill your girlfriend together. Of course, I didn't know that your girlfriend was the miss, because the information said that I should kill you and your girlfriend. Wang Kejin didn't hide the fact that Wang Xiaoyan was the miss of the family. Their previous conversation was also heard by Yang Ming. Obviously, Wang Xiaoyan didn't intend to hide this. Wang Xiaoyan's last sentence to Wang Kejin might have asked him to hide some specific details of the butterfly family and the name of the family, so Wang Kejin didn't mention these. Yang Ming nodded. It seemed that Wang Kejin really should have come to kill without knowing anything. He only knew at the last minute that the target was their Mississippi. However, Yang Ming was wondering, who wants to kill me and my girlfriend? Who has this kind of hatred with me? Who is the employer? Asked Yang Ming. I don't know. The mission was issued through the platform. We don't know the identity of the employer. Wang Kejin shook his head. Yang Ming naturally knew the mission process of the assassin platform. Many missions were issued anonymously, so Yang Ming didn't question Wang Kejin's words. Wang Xiaoyan took the first aid kit and handed it to Wang Kejin. Wang Kejin didn't need anyone's help. He opened the first aid kit, applied the medicine, and bandaged the gauze with one hand. This was the most basic quality ability of an assassin. After being injured, one would bandage himself. Because in many cases, the execution of the mission was carried out alone, and there was no one else around, so it was necessary to bandage himself after being injured. After Wang Kejin bandaged himself, Wang Xiaoyan spoke, Who sent you? It's my instructor. Wang Kejin said truthfully, This is a mission received from the assassin platform. It asked the organization to assassinate Yang Ming and his girlfriend. There was only Yang Ming's information on the information, but there was no information on his girlfriend. So, I didn't know that his girlfriend was you, Mississippi, that's the case. Wang Xiaoyan nodded after listening. She thought, luckily, you met me with Yang Ming, so you made a move. If Yang Ming was with other women, and you made a move, you would die directly. You wouldn't have a chance to see me again. Who is the employer? The missions on the assassin platform are issued anonymously. Wang Kejin smiled bitterly. The organization won't ask about this kind of thing. Okay, I got it. This mission is stopped. You can go back. Try to investigate the identity of the employer. Forget it. I will talk to my father directly about this. Wang Xiaoyan waved her hand and said, Miss, I still have other missions. I'm afraid I can't go back immediately. Wang Kejin didn't need to hide anything from Wang Xiaoyan, so he naturally told Wang Xiaoyan that he still had a mission. There are other missions? What mission? Wang Xiaoyan asked casually. It is a mission to assassinate a gang boss in Songjiang. Wang Kejin replied. Gang boss? Yang Ming's heart was subconsciously shocked, and then he quickly asked, what is the name of the assassination target? This. Wang Kejin hesitated. The assassination mission needed to be kept secret. It couldn't be said casually. I asked you a question. Just answer it. Why are you stuttering? Wang Xiaoyan glared and snorted at Wang Kejin impatiently. Yes, Mississippi, Wang Kejin said quickly. Yang Ming's identity, although it seemed that he was the boyfriend of the miss, whether this identity was recognized by the family was unknown. Therefore, Wang Kejin still had reservations about Yang Ming. Most of the assassins in the family were clear about Wang Xiaoyan's affairs. Wang Xiaoyan's fiancé should be the apprentice of the king of assassins, and Wang Xiaoyan's escape was to escape this marriage. However, although Wang Xiaoyan escaped, it was still unknown whether she could resist the fate of the family, so Wang Kejin had reservations about Yang Ming. Now, since Wang Xiaoyan spoke, then Wang Kejin couldn't hide it anymore. The Mrs. words represented the second highest power in the family, so Wang Kejin replied truthfully, it is Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan. It is said that they are the gang bosses of this city. What? Although Yang Ming heard Wang Kejin say that he wanted to assassinate a gang boss, he had already faintly guessed something. At this moment, when he heard Wang Kejin say that it was Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan, he immediately exclaimed, You want to assassinate Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan? Wang Kejin was puzzled by Yang Ming's big reaction, but he still nodded and said, Yes. This mission is also cancelled. Yang Ming waved his hand. You can go back. Wang Kejin was a little dumbfounded. Yang Ming's words were like an order, but Wang Kejin frowned in his heart. He thought, you are just the boyfriend of the Mississippi. What right do you have to order me? Even if I am the miss, I can't just cancel the mission, right? The previous mission involved the miss, so it had to be cancelled. But now this mission was aimed at an outsider. How can it be cancelled easily? Once it is cancelled, how can I report back? Cancel? This is impossible. Wang Kejin said subconsciously. If I ask you to cancel it, then just cancel it. What is impossible? Wang Xiaoyan knew about Ho Junhan and Bao Sanli. When the Black Widow assassin group merged with Li Chang and the others to form the Black Butterfly assassin group, she saw Ho Junhan and Bao Sanli. She also knew that these two people were working for Yang Ming, so at this moment, Wang Xiaoyan naturally stood on the side of Yang Ming. Miss. Wang Kejin was helpless about Wang Xiaoyan's words. Miss, the previous mission involved you, so it must be cancelled. I can report back, but, if this mission is cancelled, I can't report back when I go back. The family master will not agree. Really? Then you have to go through me first. Yang Ming's eyes were cold as he spoke to Wang Kejin. Wang Kejin didn't know how Yang Ming's skills were. Before, he only fought with Wang Xiaoyan. Yang Ming didn't make a move, but he thought that Yang Ming should also know Kung Fu. Otherwise, he wouldn't have something like a medicine box. Miss, don't make it difficult for me. Wang Kejin really didn't know what to do in the face of Yang Ming's threat. Fighting with Yang Ming was obviously not giving face to Wang Xiaoyan, but, if he didn't fight, Yang Ming would stop him from completing the mission. Shua. A flying needle pierced Wang Kejin's right ear and directly pierced a hole in his right ear. Ah! Wang Kejin was suddenly shocked. Although he was talking to Wang Xiaoyan just now, and he was distracted, he didn't see how Yang Ming made a move. If this flying needle was pierced in another position of Wang Kejin, then he would probably be dead at this moment. Don't do something that is beyond your ability. Yang Ming said faintly, "You are a member of the Yan family, so I am so polite to you. Otherwise, do you think you can still stand here?" Wang Kejin's cold sweat came out. He didn't doubt the authenticity of Yang Ming's words. He didn't expect that Yang Ming would actually use a concealed weapon, and it was such a small concealed weapon. In some of the top assassins, concealed weapons were not unfamiliar to them, but most of the concealed weapons were launched with the help of machinery, similar to pistols. This kind of concealed weapon that was launched purely by hand strength could be said to be less and less in today's society. This was because the first throw of a concealed weapon had a very high requirement for the opponent's strength. This required very strict training. This was not the most difficult point. Many assassins were people who could bear hardships. However, the second point wasn't something that everyone could achieve, and that was the accuracy of the throw. Perhaps, many assassins were sharpshooters, but if they didn't use modern equipment, then who could guarantee the accuracy? Therefore, many assassins would not spend much effort to practice the throwing of concealed weapons. In contrast, the use of firearms was more convenient. The problem could be solved with one shot. Why would they need to use concealed weapons? However, in many cases, in some public places, using a gun was not a good way. If they could use a concealed weapon to quietly kill the target, it was hundreds of times better than using a gun. Yang Ming could casually throw out a flying needle in an instant. This seemingly simple technique was a height that many assassins couldn't reach in their lifetime. Especially with a flying needle. If it was a dagger or a stone, it was still possible, but a flying needle was so small and light that it was very difficult to throw it. After Yang Ming revealed this move, Wang Kejin already knew that his mission was extremely difficult to complete. Even if he took advantage of Yang Ming's unpreparedness, pretended to leave Song Jiang, and then turned back to assassinate the target, even if he succeeded, then Yang Ming would definitely know that this was done by Wang Kejin. With Wang Xiaoyan in the middle, Wang Kejin would not be able to mingle in the butterfly family. So for a time, Wang Kejin was in a dilemma. Let's do it this way. I will talk to my father about this matter. Your plan will be suspended for these 2 days. After seeing my father's opinion, I will inform you again. Wang Xiaoyan also knew Wang Kejin's dilemma. As an assassin of the butterfly family, if he gave up the mission and went back directly, he would definitely be severely punished by the family. However, if there was a reason and he got the permission of the family master, then there was no problem. Thank you, Mississippi. This is the best. When Wang Kejin saw that Wang Xiaoyan said a compromise, he breathed a sigh of relief and nodded. However, he still had not solved the most important problem. From Wang Xiaoyan's words, Wang Kejin had already understood that the result of the matter was likely to be to cancel the mission and let him go back directly. But in this way, these 2 missions were not completed. Then, would he still have the opportunity to worship under Master's tombstone? However, the current situation did not allow him to make any refutation. He could only let it be. Well, you leave your contact information. I will keep in touch with you at any time. Wang Xiaoyan didn't want to waste time on Wang Kejin's matter. Today was already the last night to get together with Yang Ming. The next time was uncertain, so Wang Xiaoyan particularly cherished it. Okay, my satellite phone number is. Wang Kejin said his satellite phone number, then got up and said goodbye to Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming. Wang Kejin was somewhat frustrated as he left Wang Xiaoyan's villa. Originally, he came to Song Jiang excitedly. He wanted to complete these 2 tasks perfectly, but he did not expect that he could not complete one. Is this fate? It seems that I have no fate with Master's tombstone. Pa, a hand was silently placed on Wang Kejin's shoulder. Wang Kejin was suddenly shocked. His hair stood up in fright. Why are there so many strange things today? Who is it? Wang Kejin exclaimed subconsciously. Chapter 12:16. Although Wang Kejin was not a top assassin, it was incredible that someone could approach him without him being aware of it. Wang Kejin did not think that he was incompetent to such a point. But in fact, this was the case. Someone approached him and even put his hand on his shoulder before he reacted. He didn't know if it was because he was a little distressed and in a bad mood when he came out of Wang Xiaoyan's house, so he was careless, or the approaching person was really powerful. However, these were not important. In the case of not distinguishing between friend and foe, Wang Kejin could only concentrate on dealing with it. Don't be nervous, young man. A familiar hoarse voice came to Wang Kejin's ears. Wang Kejin was shocked and quickly turned around, but he saw the person he wanted to see in his dreams. Masters Jr.? Wang Kejin couldn't believe his eyes. The person in front of him was actually Masters Jr., Tombstone. He had always wanted to be a disciple of Masters Jr., but he had never had a chance. He finally had the opportunity this time, but he had not completed the task yet. Wang Kejin wanted to give up, but he did not expect to unexpectedly meet Masters Jr., Tombstone, here. The person who came was Tombstone, the person sent by the Butterfly family's family master to secretly protect Wang Xiaoyan. However, in most cases, as long as Tombstone saw Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan together, he would give up tracking and protecting them because Yang Ming was there. Wang Xiaoyan would not be in any danger. If even Yang Ming could not deal with someone, it would be useless for Tombstone to go. Therefore, Tombstone only secretly tracked and protected Wang Xiaoyan when Yang Ming was not with Wang Xiaoyan. Today, Tombstone also saw the fight between Wang Kejin and Wang Xiaoyan from a distance. Tombstone smiled slightly and nodded. Wang Kejin, right? The third generation of the family's outstanding assassin. Masters Jr., do you know my name? Wang Kejin was very excited when he saw that Tombstone could actually call out his name. His voice changed a little. Of course, I know. Your instructor has recommended you to me to let me train you alone. Tombstone said with a smile. Really? Wang Kejin looked at the martial uncle in front of him in disbelief. However, after he was excited for a little while, he showed a depressed expression. Martial uncle, my mission this time has failed. Failed? You lost to eldest miss, do you think it's considered a failure? Tombstone waved his hand. Young miss has received strict training since she was young. Although she is not as professional as us, she has been exposed to the most sophisticated martial arts. Wang Kejin was shocked. Although he was already convinced in his mind that the person he saw just now was Wang Xiaoyan, the Butterfly family's Mississippi. But now, after hearing Tombstone say it personally, he was more confident in his heart. But Miss Boyfriend asked me to give up another mission in Songjiang together. Wang Kejin hesitated and said. Because Tombstone was not an outsider, Wang Kejin did not need to hide anything from him. Another mission? What mission? Tombstone's current duty was to protect Wang Xiaoyan's safety and report Wang Xiaoyan's situation to the clan leader at any time. It's an assassination of the two gang leaders here. Wang Kejin said truthfully, however, the two gang leaders should have a good relationship with eldest Miss Boyfriend, Yang Ming. Oh. After listening to Wang Kejin's words, Tombstone asked, are the targets of the assassination called Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli? Martial uncle, do you know them? Wang Kejin was stunned. He didn't expect Tombstone to know the names of these two people. Tombstone shook his head and said, I don't know them, but I know these two people. Their relationship with Yang Ming is really good. Just cancel this mission. Ah. Wang Kejin did not expect martial uncle Tombstone to let him cancel the mission. However, Tombstone's words were obviously more powerful. Although Wang Xiaoyan was also a member of the family, her current identity was still the eldest Mississippi. She did not participate in the family's assassin affairs, but Tombstone was different. Tombstone was one of the leaders of the Butterfly Assassin Group. Tombstone's words represented the order of the organization. Do not worry. Even if there are these two missions, I will still let you follow me. Tombstone patted Wang Kejin's shoulder as if he saw through his thoughts and said with a smile. Wang Kejin did not expect Tombstone to directly agree to accept him as a disciple, and he was overjoyed. He completed these two missions in order to be able to worship Tombstone. Since his dream had now been realized, Wang Kejin was no longer entangled with the success or failure of the mission. Originally, Wang Kejin was still worried that these two missions could not be completed. Now, with Martial Uncle Tombstone's personal guarantee, Wang Kejin regained his previous mood of coming to Songjiang. Thank you, Martial Uncle. Wang Kejin quickly thanked him. What are you thanking me for? Tombstone waved his hand. We are all family. If you are not excellent, I will not teach you anything. I can let you follow me because of your own efforts. Although Wang Kejin also understood that if he did not work hard, then it would be a waste of effort, but at this moment, he was still very grateful to Tombstone. Well, I will report this matter to the family master. You don't have to go back. Follow me to experience Songjiang. I still have the mission to protect the eldest miss here. I can't go back for a while, said Tombstone. That's great. Wang Kejin was overjoyed after listening to Tombstone's words. He immediately nodded and agreed. As long as he could follow Martial Uncle Tombstone, it was the same no matter where. Wang Kejin naturally would not care. My mission is to secretly protect the first miss, but the first miss doesn't know of my existence. So, don't tell the first miss that you've met me, the Tombstone said. You know the stakes of this. Yes, Martial Uncle, I know. Wang Kejin responded hurriedly. Tombstone nodded and said to Wang Kejin, let's go. I will take you to my residence. Wang Kejin and Tombstone disappeared into the night. Yang Ming in Wang Xiaoyan's villa frowned. Yang Ming had long noticed the existence of Tombstone. He even fought with him. However, since Tombstone was to protect Wang Xiaoyan's safety, Yang Ming did not bother with him and let him follow Wang Xiaoyan there. However, recently, as long as he was with Wang Xiaoyan, Tombstone would avoid him, so Yang Ming had no reason to find trouble with Tombstone. Now that he saw the scene of Wang Kejin and Tombstone meeting, Yang Ming also heard him say that he was here to secretly protect Wang Xiaoyan. Then, his and Wang Xiaoyan's every move must have been passed to the ears of Wang Xiaoyan's father. So, why didn't Wang Xiaoyan's father take any action? It was reasonable to say that Wang Xiaoyan still had a marriage. A big family like hers would definitely pay attention to the privacy of their private life. Now, Wang Xiaoyan was still a student, and she lived with Yang Ming every day. After Wang Xiaoyan's father knew about it, it was reasonable to say that he should stop it. He shouldn't let it happen, right? Therefore, Yang Ming felt a little puzzled. Which side is this Tombstone on? Is he helping Wang Xiaoyan hide from her father, or has he reported everything about Wang Xiaoyan to him? However, just from Tombstone's words, Tombstone should be more protective of his side. He advised Wang Kejin to cancel the mission of assassinating Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli. It was entirely out of Yang Ming's consideration. Otherwise, what did Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli have to do with Tombstone? With Tombstone's mediation, Wang Kejin believed that this time, Wang Kejin had completely given up the plan to assassinate Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli. Otherwise, Yang Ming was really worried. The reason why Yang Ming used his special ability to detect Wang Kejin's departure was that he wanted to see where he was going after leaving Wang Xiaoyan's house. He also wanted to see if there was any intention to assassinate Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli. Now, there was no need to look anymore. Ho Jinhan and Bao Sanli could be said to be safe. However, Yang Ming still couldn't calm down. This matter was really weird. Someone actually hired an assassin to kill me and Wang Xiaoyan, and they also wanted to kill Hou Junhan and Bao Sanli. Although my relationship with Hou Junhan and Bao Sanli was not public, and only a few people knew about it, there was indeed a great relationship between them. Now, when someone wanted to kill me and Wang Xiaoyan, they also wanted to kill Hou Junhan and Bao Sanli. Is the client of these two missions the same person or two people? Is this all a coincidence, or is it a well-planned conspiracy? This was nothing. The weirdest thing was that the client actually hired an assassin in Wang Xiaoyan's family to kill Wang Xiaoyan. This was simply too funny and unexpected. In this case, there was only one possibility left. That was, the client of the mission did not know about Wang Xiaoyan's background, nor did he know about her relationship with the assassin organization. Moreover, the most important thing was that in the assassination information received by Wang Kejin, it only mentioned that she was Yang Ming's girlfriend. There was no other detailed information, not even a name. In other words, the client's target should be Yang Ming, not Wang Xiaoyan. Wang Xiaoyan was just a sacrificial victim. Even if the person sitting next to Yang Ming was not Wang Xiaoyan, but Chen Mengyan, Lin Jiyun, Zhou Jiejia, Xiao Qing, Sun Jia, or even Zhao Ying, as long as it was a girl who was close to him, she would be the target of Wang Kejin. Then, it seemed that this conspiracy should not be made by the mysterious boss. The mysterious boss was obviously also targeting Wang Xiaoyan. That time, he set a trap in Macau and the assassination in Wang Xiaoyan's villa. Obviously, he knew Wang Xiaoyan's information very well. At least, it was impossible that he didn't even know her name. So it seemed that the client this time should be someone else. However, it involved Hou Junhan and Bao Sanli. What the hell is going on here? Thinking of this, Yang Ming picked up the phone. Although it was already very late, Yang Ming couldn't sleep if he didn't figure it out. Hello? Bao Sanli? I am Yang Ming. Yang Ming dialed Bao Sanli's cell phone. Brother Yang? What's the matter? Bao Sanli and Yang Ming had just separated. Bao Sanli had driven the car to Yang Ming's hands. Now, he had just returned to the nightless club. Baozi, I just met an assassin. Yang Ming said. Assassin? Brother Yang, are you okay? Bao Sanli was shocked after listening. Brother Yang, the assassin wanted to kill you? Yang Ming nodded. But Yan Yan knew the assassin, so he stopped his mission. But according to him, his next mission was to assassinate you and Hou Junhan. What? Bao Sanli was even more surprised when he heard that Yang Ming had met an assassin. Now, when he heard Yang Ming say that the assassin wanted to kill him and Hou Junhan, he was suddenly horrified. Yes, but his mission was also cancelled. For the time being, you and Big Ho will not be in danger. Yang Ming said, however, what I don't understand is why someone wants to hire an assassin to kill you. Have you offended anyone recently? Who did we offend? Bao Sanli was stunned. Brother Yang, you know that we have now turned into a proper business. We have long stopped doing underworld business. How can we offend anyone? That's strange. Since there is no enmity, why would someone target you and Big Ho? Yang Ming listened to Bao Sanli's denial and was even more puzzled. That assassin, did he say who hired him? Bao Sanli didn't understand the rules of the assassin industry, so he asked directly. The assassin's mission is anonymously issued through the mission platform. Yang Ming smiled bitterly. If we knew the client of the mission, we wouldn't have to work as hard as we do now. So that's the case. Bao Sanli was a little embarrassed. Could it be that some people feel that after Big Ho and I unified the underworld of Songjiang, we have become a proper business, and they are not used to our practice? It is also possible. Yang Ming nodded in agreement after listening to Bao Sanli's words. You may not feel anything, but what about your men? Perhaps some people just yearn for the life of swords and knives. They intend to take the opportunity to get rid of you. I understand, Brother Yang. Tomorrow, I will start to investigate the internal and external affairs. This matter must have a result. Otherwise, we are not afraid of thieves stealing, but we are afraid of thieves scheming. If this person is not found, Big Ho and I will not be able to live a stable life, said Bao Sanli. It's good to investigate. Yang Ming suddenly remembered that time when he met Lu Cha in the elevator. The arrogant look at that time was still fresh in Yang Ming's memory. Especially the several senior executives inside the group, it is best to check if there is any problem. The person named Lu Chan, his son, is very arrogant. Why? Did Lu Cha offend you? Bao Sanli also knew Lu Chan's son. He knew what kind of character Lu Cha usually had, so when he heard Yang Ming mention Lu Cha at this time, he quickly asked. He didn't offend me, but this kid had thoughts about my cousin's girlfriend. Last time, he wanted to take the opportunity to kidnap her and do something. As Yang Ming said this, he sighed. Baozi, I know that some people have been following you until now, but the children of these people are too arrogant. Although you have changed to a proper line of work, the actions of these children have seriously affected the image of the group. I understand, Brother Yang. I will deal with it. Bao Sanli was now not as careless as before. He understood a lot of Yang Ming's words. Yang Ming had long wanted to clean up the internal affairs of the group, but there had been no suitable opportunity to speak. After all, these were veterans who followed Bao Sanli. Bao Sanli couldn't be too heartless. This would make it difficult for him. However, since there was such an opportunity, Yang Ming naturally passed the words directly to Bao Sanli, and it didn't seem abrupt. If there is news, contact me. Yang Ming said, be careful. I will also start the investigation, but before the results come out, you and Big Ho shouldn't go out casually. I am afraid that the client will do something again. Yang Ming said. Okay, Brother Yang. Bao Sanli quickly agreed. Wang Xiaoyan had already gone upstairs to take a bath. After a few days of traveling, she was already dirty. Wang Xiaoyan loved cleanliness. When she got home, she naturally went straight to the bathroom. Yang Ming waited for Wang Xiaoyan to take a bath before going, so in his free time, he thought about Wang Kejin's assassination here. Tian Long's main goal was Yang Ming, not Sun Hongjun and Sun Jie. Once all the Sun family's businesses in Donghai were transferred to Tian Long's name, then Sun Hongjun and Sun Jie would not pose any threat to him. On the surface, Sun Hongjun seemed to have a lot of power in Donghai, but this power, to put it bluntly, was controlled by Tian Long. Whether it was the gang or the group, Tian Long had placed his own people in all of them. In other words, as long as Tian Long substantially held the power, Sun Hongjun would not make any more waves. After persuading Tian Donghua to lure Yang Ming failed, Tian Long could only make other plans. However, he quickly came up with another alternative, which was to let Sun Jie call Yang Ming. Naturally, he couldn't force Sun Jie to make this call. With Sun Jie's character, she would not be obedient. Tian Long was very familiar with Miss Sun's character. Sun Jie's character was very strong. She would never be manipulated. It was a complete coincidence that he was able to lure her here. It was reasonable to say that with Sun Jie's IQ, she would not be deceived by such a small conspiracy, but Tian Donghua played the emotional card. An elder who watched Sun Jie grow up, a person who had been loyal to her father, how could Sun Jie be on guard against such a person? When her father was in trouble, Sun Jie subconsciously thought of the people who could be trusted around her father. Besides Uncle Sun San, it was Tian Long. Therefore, Sun Jie was deceived by Tian Long when she didn't have any defense against him. This was not that Sun Jie was not cautious, but if it were anyone else, they would be deceived in this case. However, this kind of trust could only be used once, not a second time. Now, Sun Jie would not believe anything Tian Long said. Chapter 12-17. Originally, Tian Long's idea was to force Sun Jie to call Yang Ming and use the same trick again. He would find a way to trick Yang Ming to a certain place, and then he would catch him in one fell swoop. However, with Sun Jie's character, this possibility was small because Sun Jie was not a person who could be coerced. It was probably not feasible for her to call Yang Ming and trick Yang Ming. However, the result of the matter was likely to be that Sun Jie would tell Yang Ming not to be fooled, or say something else that was unfavorable to Tianlong. Instead of this, it was better for Tianlong to call Yang Ming himself, tell him that Sun Jie was in his hands, and ask him to meet him somewhere. However, this would depend on whether Yang Ming really cared about Sun Jie. It was a bit risky. Tianlong did not dare to take such a method now. Only when he was 100% sure that Yang Ming cared about Sun Jie very much, could he use such an extreme method. Tombstone's residence was located in the Hillman's Villas on the west side of the Huashang district. It was similar to the villa area in the Huashang district, but there were fewer multi-story and high-rise buildings. There were no buildings for sale, only villas. It could be said that it was specially designed for the rich. The Hillman's villas were developed earlier. Tombstone bought a second-hand villa from a rich businessman who was going abroad. The interior was already decorated properly, and the full set of supporting facilities was also very complete, so it was suitable for people like Tombstone who did not bring any luggage to live directly. The villa was very large, and the price was naturally not cheap. However, Tombstone was not short of money. As an assassin, he had more than $100 million in savings. It was also due to the nature of his profession that he was not married and had no family. He really did not know how to spend the money. For Tombstone, money was just a number. His only mission was to be filial to the organization and the Butterfly family. Therefore, Tombstone bought this villa without any heartache. When the rich man sold the villa, he saw that Tombstone was dressed very ordinarily and did not look like a rich person at all. He thought that Tombstone was just asking casually, so he reported a relatively low price. He did not expect Tombstone to nod and agree directly. He took the rich man to transfer the villa and swiped the card to transfer the money without even blinking. Only then did the tycoon realize that this guy was hiding his strength. It seemed like he was even richer than him. The rich man regretted that he had quoted a lower price. Fortunately, he was also in a hurry to go abroad, not to make money by speculating in real estate. Therefore, it was rare to meet such a straightforward buyer like Tombstone. There were many rooms in the villa. Tombstone casually arranged a guest room for Wang Kajin. "Marshal uncle, is there anything else?" Wang Kajin asked. "It's okay. You go and rest. I'm going to call the family head." Tombstone waved his hand and said, "Okay, Marshal uncle, I'll go back to my room first." Wang Kajin knew that when Tombstone made the call, he needed to leave, so he turned around and went upstairs to his own room. Tombstone, on the other hand, called Butler Mu in the family. The family master, Wang Songshan, would not answer the phone directly. Only when there was something important would Butler Mu transfer the phone to Wang Songshan's room. "Butler Mu, this is Tombstone." After the call was connected, Tombstone said, "It's Tombstone. I haven't contacted you for a long time." "Why? Is there anything important? Is it about Miss?" Butler Mu naturally wouldn't neglect Tombstone's call. It was about Wang Xiaoyan, so it was of the utmost importance. "Is the master resting? I have something to talk to him about." Tombstone asked. "No, I'll help you connect." Butler Mu did not ask much because Tombstone's current mission was quite special. Some things really had to be discussed with the family master in person to decide. Butler Mu could not make the decision for Wang Songshan. "Okay." Tombstone was naturally very respectful to Butler Mu. Although Butler Mu did not have actual control of the assassin organization, he was one of the trusted people around the master. After a while, the phone was connected, and Wang Songshan's voice came from the other side. "Tombstone, what's the matter?" "Master, this is the case." Tombstone quickly said, "Wang Kajin came to Songjiang to perform a mission. His assassination target is Yang Ming. N. Wang Songshan immediately attracted attention. You mean Yang Ming? Yan Yan's boyfriend? Yes, the description of the mission is to let Wang Kejin kill Yang Ming and also kill his girlfriend. Tombstone explained, when Wang Kejin appeared, Yang Ming and Miss were together, so Wang Kejin made a move. Ah. He has already made a move. How is Yan Yan? Is she injured? Wang Songshan immediately asked in a hurry when he heard that Wang Kejin made a move. However, after asking, before Tombstone could speak, he laughed self-deprecatingly. Hee, look at me. I'm really anxious. With Yang Ming, that kid, following Yan Yan, how can anything happen to Yan Yan? That kid, Old Fong, is called the King of Assassins in vain. Yang Ming did not make a move. It was Miss who made the move. However, at the moment of crisis, when Yang Ming and I were about to appear, Miss actually used the butterfly dance micro steps. Tombstone said. Oh. Wang Songshan's eyes widened in surprise after he heard it. You're saying that Yan Yan used the butterfly dance's subtle steps? How is this possible? She learned it for a few days and gave up because she felt that it was difficult. Yan Yan herself didn't say anything, so I can't interfere. After all, he is the king of assassins. He is well matched with us. If we talk about it, he is even higher than us. So, don't worry about these things. Let Yan Yan handle it herself. Wang Songshan was more open-minded. In fact, this was also due to the previous agreement. Since the generation of Fong Tian's master, the marriage between Fong Tian and Wang Songshan's sister was set. At that time, Fong Tian was unwilling, and Wang Songshan's father had already made it clear that Fong Tian was allowed to marry another wife outside. However, Fong Tian was more single-minded and stubborn, which caused the tragedy of the previous generation. However, the rules were passed down. In other words, as a member of the butterfly family, Wang Songshan had no right to interfere with how many wives Yang Ming would marry. As long as Wang Xiaoyan agreed, then he had nothing to say. Yan Yan didn't notice your presence, right? Asked Wang Songshan after he finished speaking. She didn't, but Yang Ming should have noticed. He should have guessed that I was secretly protecting Miss, but he didn't expose me, said Tombstone. With Yang Ming's keen insight, Tombstone believed that he didn't have the ability to completely hide from Yang Ming. Oh. Yang Ming noticed you, asked Wang Songshan after listening. Then he should have told Old Fong about you. I don't know if Old Fong told Yang Ming our true identity. If he did, then it wouldn't be fun. This. I don't think so. Tombstone thought about it and said, Yang Ming should not know that we are members of the butterfly family, including Yan Yan. That's good, that's good. I really want to see what Yan Yan's expression will be when she knows the truth. Wang Songshan couldn't help but laugh when he said this. Yan Yan wanted to escape the marriage and run to Songjiang. I didn't expect that she would meet her future husband in the end. Moreover, they got together early. Tombstone couldn't help but smile after listening. If he hadn't seen Yang Ming use some of Fong Tian's exclusive skills when he fought with Yang Ming for the first time and had doubts about Yang Ming, he would have already separated Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan. Tombstone's mission here was to protect Wang Xiaoyan, but he also had the intention of secretly monitoring Wang Xiaoyan. If Wang Xiaoyan really fell in love here, he would definitely stop it. However, Tombstone had secretly investigated Yang Ming and saw Yang Ming and Fong Tian together, so he immediately understood that Yang Ming was the apprentice of the king of assassins, Fong Tian. He was also the new king of assassins and Miss Fiancé. Otherwise, how could Tombstone and Wang Songshan let Wang Xiaoyan fall in love with a strange man and live together? Of course, Wang Xiaoyan didn't know about this. Wang Xiaoyan didn't notice the existence of Tombstone. She thought that her father, Wang Xiaoyan, didn't know about everything here. Wang Xiaoyan was waiting for her Black Butterfly assassin group to make some achievements before she told her father about Yang Ming. When she had some achievements, she believed that her father couldn't stop her from being with Yang Ming. I guess that Senior Fang Tian should have guessed the identity of the Mississippi. Before the Miss and Yang Ming went abroad, they had visited Senior Fang Tian together. Senior Fang Tian seemed to have a good impression of the Miss, said Tombstone. Hey, old Fang is a cunning guy. How could he not discover it? He must have discovered it long ago. As Wang Songzhan said this, he suddenly snorted. This guy, old Fang, must have guessed it long ago. No, I have to call him. Master, is there anything else? Do you need to tell me? Tombstone saw that everything was explained, so he asked. Nothing. Right, you tell them to investigate carefully to see who wants to kill Yang Ming and Yen Yen. They actually dared to make a move on my baby daughter. They really don't want to live. Wang Songzhan said coldly, find him. You send Wang Kejin over to kill him. Yes, master. Tombstone quickly agreed. However, Wang Songzhan didn't take it seriously that someone wanted to kill Yang Ming and Wang Xiaoyan because Wang Xiaoyan's skills were not weak, and Yang Ming was by her side. Even if Yang Ming was not there, there was still Tombstone, so Wang Songzhan was not worried about this at all. However, he still had to find the murderer behind the scenes. Wang Songzhan hung up Tombstone's phone call and was about to call Fang Tian, but Butler Mu's voice came from outside the study. Master, it's a call from Miss. Oh. Quickly transfer it to me. Wang Songzhan heard that it was Wang Xiaoyan's phone call and quickly instructed Butler Mu. In Wang Songshan's castle, there were many phones. One was busy, and another was busy. Obviously, Wang Xiaoyan must have called the previous one and found that the line was busy, so she called another one. The call was transferred, and Wang Xiaoyan's voice came from the other side. It's me. Why don't you even call me Dad? Wang Songzhan had been in a particularly cheerful mood since he learned that Wang Xiaoyan's boyfriend in Songjiang was Yang Ming, Fang Tian's apprentice. He no longer worried about Wang Xiaoyan. Dad. Wang Xiaoyan said faintly. Wang Xiaoyan didn't know that her father already knew about Yang Ming. In Wang Xiaoyan's heart, her father, Wang Songzhan, was still indifferent and ruthless. Hee, baby Yen Yen, why are you calling Dad? What's the matter? Wang Songzhan asked with a smile. There is an assassin named Wang Kejin in the family's assassin group. He came to Songjiang to perform a mission. I asked him to cancel the mission. Wang Xiaoyan said until here and paused. Because Wang Xiaoyan knew that Yang Ming's matter couldn't be hidden anymore. Even if she didn't say it, Wang Kejin would definitely say it. In front of her and her father, Wang Kejin would definitely choose to be loyal to her father instead of her, the Miss. After Wang Kejin returned to the family, he would definitely report his encounter with Wang Xiaoyan in Songjiang. Such news would definitely reach her father's ears. At that time, her father would definitely ask Wang Kejin in detail about what mission he was carrying out in Songjiang and why he wanted to assassinate Wang Xiaoyan. At that time, Wang Kejin would definitely tell the truth and say that he came to assassinate Yang Ming and his girlfriend. In this way, Yang Ming's matter would inevitably be exposed in front of her father. At that time, when her father found her again, Wang Xiaoyan would definitely be in a passive position. Therefore, Wang Xiaoyan hesitated again and decided to call her father personally to tell him about her and Yang Ming. At the same time, Wang Xiaoyan also decided to be firm with her father. No matter what her father said, she would not be separated from Yang Ming. However, how to talk to her father and the wording had become Wang Xiaoyan's problem. Wang Xiaoyan called her father's residence, but she found that the line was busy. She called again, but the line was still busy. After calling a few more times, the line was still busy. Wang Xiaoyan wanted to give up. People were like this. Once they made up their minds to do something, they must do it immediately. Once there was a delay, they would waver and hesitate. Yang Ming. I'm scared. Wang Xiaoyan put the phone on the table weakly. Her whole body was curled up in Yang Ming's arms. Wang Xiaoyan had just discussed with Yang Ming. Wang Xiaoyan decided to formally talk to her father about her future and marriage. The Black Butterfly assassin group had improved. This was obvious to all. This was a solid achievement. Especially this time, they had merged with the world's second-largest assassin group, the Charles family. The strength of the Black Butterfly assassin group had improved a lot. Wang Xiaoyan already had enough capital to compete with her father. Although she had not yet reached the goal of being the world's first, Wang Xiaoyan believed that this goal would be achieved in time. There is nothing to be afraid of. Don't forget that the capital in your hands is not bad. Yang Ming cheered Wang Xiaoyan up. You now have the Black Butterfly assassin group and the Charles family in your hands. What are you afraid of? That's right. I have the capital now. Wang Xiaoyan nodded and was full of confidence again, so she picked up the phone and dialed the phone number of her father's other phone. As a result, the previous scene had occurred. Chapter 12:18. I already know. Wang Kejin has already reported it. Wang Songzhan did not say anything about Tombstone. Following Wang Xiaoyan was a secret, so Wang Songzhan directly said that Wang Kejin told him, not Tombstone. However, this was not unexpected because Wang Kejin was responsible for the assassin group. If there was a problem here, he would definitely report it to the assassin group immediately. He has already said it? Wang Xiaoyan's heart was subconsciously shocked. Since Wang Kejin had already said it, then he must have also said about Yang Ming. However, her father's tone doesn't seem to be condemning me. This made Wang Xiaoyan slightly puzzled. Yes. Wang Songzhan said, even if you didn't call me, I would have called you. So it's like this. For some reason, Wang Xiaoyan, who was originally full of confidence, felt a little guilty at the moment. She wanted to tell her father about Yang Ming personally, but now, her father should have known it in advance. Why didn't her father mention it? You have a boyfriend, in Songjiang? Wang Songzhan saw Wang Xiaoyan stuttering. How could he not guess Wang Xiaoyan's thoughts at the moment? A father knows his daughter best. Most likely, Wang Xiaoyan called back this time to tell him the truth. However, he got the news from Tombstone in advance, so Wang Xiaoyan didn't know how to speak. Since Wang Xiaoyan didn't know how to speak, Wang Songzhan simply spoke first. Anyway, he was very much in favor of Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming being together. Even if Wang Xiaoyan wanted to break up with Yang Ming, Wang Songzhan would not agree. It was just that he couldn't say it out loud. Although Wang Songzhan was already old, who didn't have a childish temper. In the past, his daughter ran away from home and put him in an awkward position. Wang Songzhan was very annoyed. Although he also understood Wang Xiaoyan's difficulties, Wang Xiaoyan's approach was a bit extreme. Therefore, at this moment, there was an opportunity to make Wang Xiaoyan worried. Wang Songzhan still had to seize it. Of course, this was only a secondary reason. The main reason was that Fang Tian had not revealed it to Yang Ming. How could Wang Songzhan reveal it first? It was better to let the two children develop naturally. It would not be nice to reveal the identity early. If it affected the relationship between the two, then he would be a sinner. Ah! Wang Xiaoyan was shocked. Although she had guessed that her father already knew about Yang Ming's matter, she still couldn't help but be surprised when she heard her father say it personally. Don't be surprised. Wang Kejin's mission is to assassinate a person named Yang Ming and his girlfriend. Wang Songzhan said calmly, however, it was an assassination attempt on your head. How can I not guess your relationship with Yang Ming? Could it be that I made a mistake? Are you just ordinary friends? No. Dad, you didn't make a mistake. At this time, Wang Xiaoyan could completely deny it. Since she denied it, Wang Songshan was too embarrassed to continue to expose her, so this matter was over. However, Wang Xiaoyan nodded and admitted, "He is my boyfriend. We are already together." "Oh. Sure enough." After Wang Songshan heard it, he said faintly, "However, someone promised me that she would quietly finish high school and college outside and then come back to get married. She would never have a boyfriend outside, right? Or did I remember it wrong?" Wang Xiaoyan's face suddenly blushed. This ambition was indeed what she said when she ran away from home. Now that she thought about it, she broke her promise. How could Wang Xiaoyan's face not be hot? Wang Xiaoyan was embarrassed and said, "However, I also said that as long as I can establish the world's #1 assassin group before I get married, I cannot marry that person and pursue my own life." You did say that. Wang Songshan nodded. But did you create the world's #1 assassin group? Wang Xiaoyan was suddenly speechless. Indeed, she had not created the world's #1 assassin group, so in theory, Wang Xiaoyan did not have the right to love freely. "I have seen the Black Butterfly assassin group that you created. Not bad. You can actually go to Africa to complete a special mission." Wang Songshan smiled. "Yan, you did a good job. For the first time, Dad is impressed by you. You know all about it?" Wang Xiaoyan was a little surprised that her father actually knew that her assassin group had been renamed to the Black Butterfly Assassin Group. But after thinking about it carefully, it was understandable. Her name change was announced on the World Assassin platform, so as long as her father saw the announcement, he would know that the current Black Butterfly Assassin Group was created by her. I saw the announcement. Naturally, I knew." Wang Songshan seemed to be in a good mood. "So, I won't say much about you getting a boyfriend, but I want to remind you that although the Black Butterfly Assassin Group is now ranked very high and has entered the top 50, it will take a lot of effort to surpass our butterfly family. Don't be happy too early. The higher the ranking, the harder it is to break through. This is the reason why our butterfly family has not surpassed the King of Assassins for so many years. Just one mission from him is equivalent to hundreds of normal missions from us. You see, the Charles family has always wanted to surpass us, but they are always a little short. After so many years, they are still a little short. This point determines the fundamental difference between the two of you. Dear Dad, I want to tell you a very unfortunate thing." Wang Xiaoyan listened to her father's words and was a little dissatisfied. "The Charles family has decided to work with our Black Butterfly Assassin Group." "What? Charles family? Work with you? What do you mean?" Wang Songshan was stunned and suddenly said in surprise. He had not heard of this news. After all, Tombstone did not follow Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming to Europe. He did not know what happened to them in Europe. He was shocked when he heard the news. The Charles family is going to entrust their assassin group to our Black Butterfly Assassin Group. We will be in charge of running it. Old Charles only wants a portion of the dividends every year. Wang Xiaoyan said proudly. Although these were all negotiated by Yang Ming, in any case, Yang Ming was her man. In Wang Xiaoyan's view, it was as if she had fought for it herself. Yan, are you telling the truth?" Wang Songshan listened to Wang Xiaoyan's words and widened his eyes. He didn't think that old Charles was crazy. How could he hand over the management of such a big assassin organization to a newly established Black Butterfly assassin group that was not well known? This is incredible. How is this possible? Of course, it is true. Wang Xiaoyan said affirmatively. Although Wang Xiaoyan did not hear what old Charles said, these were told by Yang Ming, and Yang Ming would not lie to her, so Wang Xiaoyan was so sure. Old Charles, he handed over the assassin group to you to run? Wang Songshan still did not believe it. Yan, you are not lying to Dad, right? This is not the time to joke. Dad, I really didn't lie to you. In a few days, we will go to Europe to talk to the Charles family about this. Wang Xiaoyan explained with a dumbfounded expression. It was understandable that her father did not believe it. When Wang Xiaoyan first heard the news, she was also shocked. It took a long time to accept this fact. If it were not for her trust in Yang Ming, maybe Wang Xiaoyan would not believe it now. Yan, I still don't believe it. Why would old Charles hand over his assassin group to you? You know, the Black Butterfly is just a newly established assassin group. Asked Wang Songshan. Old Charles handed the assassin group to us for a reason. Wang Xiaoyan explained, Old Charles's son, Little Charles, is a racer. I believe you know this, right? I know this. Wang Songshan said, that kid seems to be unwilling to inherit the family business. He wants to be a racer, and he really made a name for himself. At that time, it seemed that he and Old Charles had an agreement that as long as he won the world championship in the racing competition, he could live his own life. Every family has its own difficulties. Yan, I just found out now that you are better than Little Charles. Of course. Wang Xiaoyan snorted proudly. At least I still like the assassin profession. This is the reason I want to say. Old Charles is getting older and older, and there is no one to take care of the family business. Little Charles is also unwilling to inherit the family business, so he can only entrust the assassin group to someone else. He just needs to get some dividends every year. It's like this. Wang Songshan nodded after listening, but he still had some doubts. But, you are a newly established assassin group. Although you are growing rapidly, there is no reason for Old Charles to be convinced. Even if he wants to entrust it, he should entrust it to some of the top-ranking veteran assassin groups. Wait. Speaking of this, Wang Songshan suddenly thought of something. He patted his head and asked, Yan, did you tell Old Charles that you are my daughter? Did you reveal the identity of the butterfly family? No. Wang Xiaoyan smiled bitterly. When I left home, I said that I don't want to rely on the power of the family. I want to make a career with my own ability. Of course, I won't tell others about the identity of the butterfly family. However, this Old Charles was talked to by Yang Ming. I don't know the details. Right, Dad, I haven't told you yet, right? Yang Ming is also an assassin. He is very powerful. Wang Songshan certainly knew that Yang Ming was an assassin. However, he was a little surprised after listening to Wang Xiaoyan's words. It turns out that Yang Ming was the one who settled Old Charles. It seems that Fang Tian's apprentice is also a talent. I have already guessed it. Wang Kejin also said before that Yang Ming knows Kung Fu. Wang Songshan naturally wouldn't say that he already knew Yang Ming's identity. Instead, he pushed the responsibility to Wang Kejin. Which organization does he belong to? He doesn't belong to any organization. He is a freelance assassin. Wang Xiaoyan said, a lot of things happened between him and me, so. Dad, you don't oppose us? To be honest, I was against it before, but I heard you say that he actually pocketed Old Charles's family business. He is indeed a talent, Wang Songshan said. However, not opposing doesn't mean that I agree. Everything still depends on your strength. If you don't make the Black Butterfly Assassin Group the world's #1 within the specified time, then you still have to come back and get engaged to the King of Assassins' apprentice. Although Wang Xiaoyan didn't get a satisfactory answer, her father's attitude now was very different from before. This made Wang Xiaoyan relieved in her heart. How did he do it? Wang Songshan didn't continue on this topic, but asked. I don't know. I didn't ask in detail. We just came back from a mission in Europe. Wang Xiaoyan said, I just want to tell you about us. I really like him, or rather, I love him. Yan, are you sure you are in love with him? Wang Songshan was eager for Wang Xiaoyan to fall in love with Yang Ming. I am sure. Wang Xiaoyan said affirmatively. Well, then you hold on to it. I won't comment on this now. Wang Songshan said, rest early. I want to call old Charles and ask him what's going on. Okay. Wang Xiaoyan was telling the truth. She wasn't afraid that her father would verify it. It would be better if he could verify it. When Wang Xiaoyan hung up the phone, Yang Ming came over. Wang Xiaoyan and her father were talking, so it was inconvenient for Yang Ming to listen. So, after the call was connected, Yang Ming walked away. How is it? Yan Yan asked Yang Ming. My father. He didn't say anything about our matter. He didn't support it, nor did he oppose it. In short, let's finish the assassin group as soon as possible. Wang Xiaoyan said. It doesn't matter. We still have time, don't we? Yang Ming didn't feel anything in his heart. In the end, he could reveal his identity and tell Wang Xiaoyan's father that he was the apprentice of the king of assassins, which meant that he would be the world's #1 in the future. In this way, the Black Butterfly Assassin Group would become the organization run by the king of assassins, and naturally become the world's #1. Yeah, we still have time. Wang Xiaoyan listened to Yang Ming's words, and her courage increased. At most, I will be pregnant with your child. Let's see what my father can do. He will kill you. Yang Ming was shocked after hearing it. He didn't expect Wang Xiaoyan to do such a bold thing. Not to mention Wang Xiaoyan's father, any father would go crazy when he heard that his daughter was unmarried and pregnant with someone else's child during college. It was even more so for a big family like Wang Xiaoyan. That's a child with 2 lives, as long as he can do it. Wang Xiaoyan smiled indifferently. At that time, he has no choice but to accept reality. That's true. Anyway, Yang Ming still had a backup plan, so he was not very worried at the moment. Yeah, let's work hard now. As Wang Xiaoyan said, she wrapped her arms around Yang Ming's neck and whispered in Yang Ming's ear. Work hard for what? Yang Ming was tempted by Wang Xiaoyan, but he still asked. Being pregnant with your child. Wang Xiaoyan blinked. Wang Songshan naturally didn't care about this. Even if Wang Xiaoyan was pregnant with Yang Ming's child, Wang Songshan would only be happier. After dialing old Charles's phone, Wang Songshan quietly waited for the other side to answer. Although Wang Songshan and old Charles were second and third on the assassin list, they had a good relationship with each other. Because they were both in Europe and were both Chinese, the two would usually call and greet each other. Butler Zhou? Please transfer to Mr. Old Charles. I am Wang Songshan. Wang Songshan said to the other side of the phone. Is this Mr. Wang from the Butterfly family? Hello, Butler Zhou has retired. I am the person who replaced his position. My surname is Zhang. The man on the other side said respectfully. It's Butler Zhang. Hello. Wang Songshan did not expect Butler Zhou to retire. Mr. Wang, please wait a moment. I have transferred the phone to Mr. Charles's room. Butler Zhang said. After a while, old Charles's voice came from the phone. Hello? Is this Songshan? It's me. Wang Songshan said, Old Charles, I heard that you are going to hand over your assassin group to someone else. You know? Old Charles did not find it strange because he had already guessed the relationship between Wang Xiaoyan and the Butterfly family, so it was not surprising that Wang Songshan knew about this. Did your daughter say it? Yes, you know about Yan Yan? Wang Songshan was a little surprised that old Charles actually knew about Wang Xiaoyan. I guessed it, but it was not confirmed. The person who came to talk to me did not know the identity of Wang Xiaoyan, so I did not ask much. Old Charles said, however, I remember that your daughter seems to be called Wang Xiaoyan. That is Yan Yan's boyfriend. Wang Songshan said, however, I am puzzled. You actually handed over the assassin group to them? Is this not wise? Old Charles laughed. That's not it, but Yan Yan is still a child. Although she has made some achievements. Wang Songshan was interrupted by old Charles halfway through his words. No, no. Old Charles waved his hand. Don't you know? Yinyan's boyfriend, Yang Ming, is the descendant of the king of assassins, Fang Tian? Ah. You know it too. Wang Songshan was surprised and immediately understood that old Charles was interested in this. Of course, I know. If I didn't know, how could I entrust the assassin group to him? And this is what I am interested in. Old Charles said, I am not as lucky as you to find a good son-in-law. My son is disappointing and does not come back to inherit the assassin group. I can only entrust the assassin group to others. What else can I do? No wonder. Wang Songshan suddenly realized that old Charles was relieved to entrust the assassin group to Yang Ming after learning about Yang Ming's life experience. Chapter 12-19. I thought you were interested in our butterfly family's ability. Wang Songshan complained sourly. Your butterfly family is just older than my Charles family. In terms of the average number of tasks completed per year, we are not much worse than you. Old Charles said, how can I be willing to entrust this to you? Then you are willing to entrust it to my son-in-law? Huh, isn't it the same? Speaking of this, Wang Songshan couldn't help but laugh proudly. Old Charles snorted unhappily, your son-in-law? I don't think so. If I had a daughter, she would definitely snatch it from you. But I'm old, so it's impossible. I'll talk to my son tomorrow. If he can't get married, then we'll become sworn brothers with Yang Ming. This is a good idea. Your idea is really shameless. Wang Songshan curled his lips disdainfully after listening. But in any case, Wang Songshan was still very happy in his heart. His daughter was really a blessing. It seemed that her decision to run away from home was very correct. Not only did she find the king of assassins' apprentice as her boyfriend, but even old Charles's assassin family was fooled together. After hanging up the phone call with old Charles, Wang Songshan dialed the phone to Fang Tian again. He was ready to ridicule Fang Tian. He knew the truth for so long, but he didn't tell him, causing his relationship with Wang Xiaoyan's father to be so tense. It was only resolved today. Fang Tian lay quietly in the rocking chair, drinking a little wine and looking at the small 21-inch color TV on the table. Yang Ming and Dong Jun wanted to change a bigger TV for Fang Tian several times, but Fang Tian said that he was not used to it. He had been watching this color TV for decades, and he couldn't get used to it suddenly changing to a bigger TV. Fang Tian insisted, and Yang Ming and Dong Jun couldn't do anything about it. However, Fang Tian squinted his eyes. Although his eyes stayed on the TV, his mind was not on the TV. Yang Ming told Fang Tian about the strange things he had encountered recently. Fang Tian's suspicion in his heart was even stronger, but everything was still speculation. There was no definite evidence, so Fang Tian was not completely sure who the behind-the-scenes person was. The phone rang, and Fang Tian picked it up. Hello? Who is it? Old man Fang. Guess who I am? Wang Songshan and Fang Tian could be said to be old friends. When the two met, there would always be some childish behavior, which surprised many people. Brat Wang? You haven't died yet? When Fang Tian heard the voice on the other side, he knew who was calling. I will definitely die after you. Wang Songshan didn't care. He snorted and said, I am 1 year younger than you. It doesn't matter. If you don't die before I die, I'll let my disciple send you off. Fang Tian said indifferently, my idea isn't bad, right? My son-in-law will kill me? Stop dreaming. Wang Songshan sneered, Old man Fang, did you already know that my daughter and Yang Ming were together? Oh, you mean this? My disciple has slept with many women. Who knows which one is your daughter? Fang Tian narrowed his eyes and deliberately wanted to anger Wang Songshan. Oh, I know. Is it because my disciple dumped your daughter? Are you here to denounce me? Your daughter is the one who was dumped. Wang Songshan was irritated by Fang Tian, I don't want to waste my breath with you. Did you already know about this? I just found out not long ago. After Yang Ming merged the Black Widow assassin group and formed the Black Butterfly assassin group, I only found out. Fang Tian also recovered his seriousness and said to Wang Songshan. Damn, you said you just found out not long ago? They just got together at that time. Wang Songshan snorted, Old man Fang, you are not honest. Why didn't you tell me when you knew? Brat Wang? Since you know when they got together, why are you here to denounce me? Fang Tian caught Wang Songshan's faulty wording and asked. This. Wang Songshan was suddenly speechless. He thought about it, and it was indeed so. It seemed that Tombstone also reported to him at that time. He and Old Man Fang were almost the same. Okay, I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. I still have important things to think about here. Fang Tian was a little impatient and wanted to hang up the phone. He and Wang Songshan often talked on the phone. When they were young, they were as close as sworn brothers, so they didn't talk so much to each other. Is it still that thing? Wang Songshan also recovered his serious expression after listening. What else can it be? You should have heard that Wang Xiaoyan and Yang Ming were assassinated several times, but they were all resolved, said Fang Tian. Right, speaking of this, I still have one more thing. Previously, someone issued a mission to assassinate Yang Ming and his girlfriend. Wang Songshan said, it just happened, but the assassin recognized Yin Yan's identity. Do you suspect that it was done by one person? Asked Fang Tian. This is not the case. The person who issued the mission only gave some information about Yang Ming. He didn't mention anything about Yin Yan. He just said that it was to kill Yang Ming's girlfriend, so I don't think it should be done by the same person. Wang Songshan analyzed. Yeah, if it is really that person, his own forces are enough. There is no need to hire an assassin. Fang Tian said, since there are others involved, you are responsible for checking to see who issued the mission. You can't help me with my matters. I can only rely on myself. And, then I won't bother you. I'll hang up first. Wang Songshan also knew that the matter was important. He put away his previous joking tone and said seriously. In fact, Fang Tian had been watching silently many things that happened to Yang Ming, but he didn't intervene. On the one hand, he also wanted to experience Yang Ming. On the other hand, because the current situation was not clear, it was not time for Fang Tian to do it personally. Bao Sanli didn't know if he didn't check, but he was shocked when he checked. First of all, there was a serious problem with Ming Yang Entertainment's accounts. In the past few months, Ming Yang Entertainment, as the parent company of several industries, should have been in a profitable state, but the accounts were in deficit. And the deficit was very serious. They actually owed a lot of money to many suppliers. It was more than 130 million yuan. Bao Sanli looked at Guo Jianchao with a pale face. At this moment, Guo Jianchao was also nervous. He didn't know what Bao Sanli would do under the thunderbolt. Although Ho Zhenhan didn't speak, his face was obviously very ugly. What happened? Bao Sanli slammed the account book in his hand in front of Guo Jianchao. How can there be so much money in the account book? The Nightless Club, International Hotel, Tianjiao Entertainment City are very profitable industries. Every day, the customers are full. How can they still lose money? Brother Bao, I'm sorry. I didn't do a good job as a manager. Guo Jianchao lowered his head. At this moment, he could only hope that Bao Sanli would let him live. Didn't do a good job? Is this just a simple matter of not doing a good job? Bao Sanli's eyes were red. This money wasn't just his own money, but also Yang Ming's money. When the money was gone, Yang Ming would think that he didn't do a good job. Then, he wouldn't have a good ending. Bao Sanli had seen Yang Ming's means, so how could he be angry at this moment? Brother Bao, please punish me. Guo Jianchao was somewhat helpless, but he was the general manager of Ming Yang Entertainment. If something happened, he must be the scapegoat. Although he wasn't responsible for the money, it was more or less because he didn't do a good job as the commander, which led to the company's overall deficit. What's the use of punishing you? What I'm asking now is, where is the money? Bao Sanli snorted coldly. Money. The money was used to purchase necessities and office supplies in nightclubs and hotels. A while ago, a lot of money was spent on the renovation of the International Hotel. Guo Jianchao said carefully. Bullshit. How can you spend 130 million yuan on necessities and decorations? Are you building a house? Bao Sanli glared and scolded. This. Guo Jianchao was also somewhat helpless. Although he was the general manager, the financial power of the company was in the hands of Lu Chan, and the purchasing department was in charge of Chu Daming. Therefore, Guo Jianchao only had the overall operating rights of the company. In fact, most of the power had been divided. However, Lu Chan and Chu Daming were both Bao Sanli's confidants. They followed Bao Sanli to conquer the world. As an outsider, would Bao Sanli believe them if he complained about them in front of Bao Sanli? If he didn't handle it well, he would be in trouble. President Guo, just say it. What can't you say? Guo Jianchao's assistant was somewhat indignant. Seeing that Guo Jianchao was hesitating, he couldn't help but interrupt. Little Wang, don't talk nonsense. Guo Jianchao glared at Little Wang. Little Wang stood up for him. Guo Jianchao was grateful in his heart, but Little Wang didn't know the relationship between Chu Daming, Lu Chan, and Bao Sanli. They were friends who had gone through life and death. You know the inside story? Bao Sanli waved his hand and interrupted Guo Jianchao's words. Then, he said to Little Wang, you tell me. What the hell is going on? Brother Bao, it's not that I want to excuse President Guo. There are some things that aren't President Guo's fault. This Ming Yang entertainment isn't something that President Guo can decide by himself. Little Wang said hurriedly, of course, President Guo has an unshirkable responsibility as the main leader, but President Guo has the right to make decisions, but he doesn't have the right to execute. Oh. Bao Sanli frowned. He seemed to hear the meaning in Little Wang's words, but he was still very angry. He is the general manager of the company. Why can't he make decisions? Yeah, I also said that President Guo has the right to make decisions, but he doesn't have the right to execute. Little Wang straightened his chest and said loudly without fear. He was promoted by Guo Jianchao. From a little waiter with a brain to a foreman, he became a senior in the company step by step. He was naturally grateful to Guo Jianchao. Then you tell me. What do you mean by having the right to make decisions but not the right to execute? Bao Sanli appreciated Little Wang's courage to speak, but he was still a little annoyed that Little Wang contradicted him. Brother Bao, although President Guo is the general manager, Vice President Lu is in charge of the company's financial power. Vice President Chu is in charge of purchasing and the specific decoration of the hotel. President Guo only has the right to make decisions. The specific execution is theirs. Speaking of this, Little Wang paused. He didn't dare to continue. Ho Zhenhan listened to Little Wang's words. When he heard this, he had already faintly guessed something. He waved his hand and said, Little Wang, you continue. Yes. Brother Ho. Little Wang had Ho Zhenhan's encouragement. He took a breath and continued, Vice President Lu and Vice President Chu are the seniors in the company. They fought with Brother Bao. They always obey President Guo's orders. President Guo can't do anything to them. Little Wang's words made Bao Sanli's face become more ugly, but he didn't get angry. Because what Little Wang said, he believed it. Previously, he had heard Yang Ming's dissatisfaction with Lu Chan. Now, Little Wang said so. Bao Sanli was even more convinced that Little Wang was telling the truth. Because Little Wang was just a small assistant, even if Vice President Lu and Vice President Chu were pushed away, it wouldn't be good for him. He wouldn't be the deputy manager. Moreover, these words couldn't have been instructed by Guo Jianchao because this inspection was carried out suddenly. They didn't inform Guo Jianchao beforehand but rushed directly to the company. When the people at the company's front desk told Guo Jianchao that he and Ho Junhan came for the inspection, Guo Jianchao wouldn't have extra time to explain anything. You said that these accounts are usually done by Lu Chan and Chu Daming? Bao Sanli stared at the account book on the table and asked with a cold face. Yes. Little Wang said with certainty as he straightened his chest. Even if Bao Sanli killed him at this moment, Little Wang didn't care because he wanted to tell the truth. He wanted to protect Guo Jianchao. In the beginning, it was Guo Jianchao who promoted him. It was also Guo Jianchao who gave him a year's salary in advance so that he could send the college tuition fee to his sister in time. Therefore, Little Wang was very grateful to Guo Jianchao. He didn't want Guo Jianchao to take the blame for Lu Chan and Chu Daming. Even if Bao Sanli didn't believe it, he had to say it. Jianchao, is what he said true? Ho Junhan spoke and stared at Guo Jianchao's eyes. Yes, brother Ho. Guo Jianchao nodded. Why didn't you say it before? Asked Ho Junhan. Before. Guo Jianchao looked at Bao Sanli with embarrassment. Bao Sanli suddenly blushed. He snorted and said to Guo Jianchao, call Lu Chan and Chu Daming. Yes. Guo Jianchao listened to Bao Sanli's tone and knew that Bao Sanli believed what Little Wang said. He suddenly breathed a sigh of relief and praised Little Wang's cleverness in his heart. If I say these words, although Bao Sanli will doubt it, he probably won't believe it. He might even think that I am sowing discord and framing the company's elders. Guo Jianchao quickly picked up the internal phone on the table and dialed the secretary's phone number. Secretary Song, help me inform Vice President Lu and Vice President Chu to come to my office. Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan didn't talk. They sat there quietly, waiting for Lu Chan and Chu Daming to come and ask. After a while, they didn't see anyone knocking on the door. Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan suddenly had some doubts. Why is it so slow? Is your company this efficient? Guo Jianchao could only smile bitterly at this moment. Bao Sanli sighed. It seems that the company has reached the point where it has to be rectified. These two people have actually controlled themselves to this point. They don't even put the company's general manager in their eyes. After a while, Bao Sanli and Ho Junhan were a little impatient. The phone on Guo Jianchao's desk rang. Hello? Guo Jianchao quickly picked up the phone. Secretary Song, how is it? Vice President Lu and Vice President Chu haven't come yet. What? I haven't seen these two people in the company. The security guard in the parking lot said that the two of them just drove away from the company. When did this happen? Okay. I got it. What happened? Bao Sanli also heard the general idea. It seemed that Lu Chan and Chu Daming ran away. Just now, shortly after you and Brother Ho came to the company, Vice President Lu and Vice President Chu went to the parking lot and drove away from the company. Guo Jianchao said truthfully. Just now? Did the news leak? Bao Sanli frowned. These two people know that we came to check the company's accounts. Did they abscond? I don't know. Guo Jianchao was immediately stunned. These two people ran away. What should I do? Wait. Let's talk about it later. Ho Junhan stood up and began to carefully check Guo Jianchao's office. Bao Sanli and Guo Jianchao didn't know what Ho Junhan was doing, but since Ho Junhan asked them to talk about it later, they all closed their mouths and looked at Ho Junhan. In the end, Ho Junhan finally stopped his gaze and stopped on the chandelier in Guo Jianchao's room. Ho Junhan stomped his foot slightly and took a black button-like object from the chandelier. Tapping device. Bao Sanli was no stranger to the thing in Ho Junhan's hand. He saw it at a glance. This was a small tapping device. Guo Jianchao and Little Wang opened their mouths at the same time. They didn't expect that in the general manager's office, there was actually a tapping device installed. For so long, they didn't notice it. Ho Junhan nodded. Yes, it is a tapping device. Our conversation just now was heard by someone, so Lu Chan and Chu Daming ran away. Bao Sanli slammed his fist on the table. He didn't expect that the parasites of Ming Yang Entertainment were actually the two veterans who fought with him. A citywide search. I don't believe that we can't catch these two people. Bao Sanli took out his mobile phone and wanted to call his men to order a citywide search for Lu Chan and Chu Daming. Speaking of this, Bao Sanli looked at the tapping device in Ho Junhan's hand again. He quickly stopped dialing and pointed to the untapped device in Ho Junhan's hand. It meant that the tapping device was still working, right? You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.